The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, right about now, I'm very excited about our back-to-back special guest. In fact, if you're listening for a long time or first time, I want you to know, just so you know, your opinions aren't lesser when you hear movie talk from this professor. In fact, if you want to get to the head of the class, you better drop your sass because we're about to talk with the original Grand Prof Tarkin himself. That's right. He recognized your foul stench when you enrolled. So give it up, myself and our brothers, our good buddy every day, Professor J, and welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 457 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast as recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, also in Casa de Zero, the realm of the green head. It looks green. It really looks green.
No, I know. I know.
He's reserved himself to that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be changed this Friday, or tomorrow. It'll be changed. Don't worry. Also
from the Lair of the Gods, and finally from what do we call it? What'd you call it, Raven Shadow, last week? I can't remember. Where's our Professor J broadcasting from?
Oh, fucking wherever the fucking hell he wants to. That's right.
Well, class is in session. You did such a good intro. I figured I'd try to give it to you.
Thank you. Was that good? That was all right.
Professor J, have you ever been called Grand Prof Tarkin?
That was something. That was legendary. What just happened there?
He was tapping into his inner Nipsey Russell there.
Yeah,
with that wordplay.
He must have known. He must have known that I have the double fans working tonight. So. I know Raven Shadow's a big fan of the fans, so
yeah,
I have double fans working tonight, so that he must have fed on that energy or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, I feel like I shouldn't say anything after that introduction because I don't think I can top that.
Well, we are back once again with Professor J in tow, making us sound a little bit smarter than we normally do. Actually, a lot smarter than we normally do. And this week, Professor J was really excited about talking about the film Jacob's Wife, so much so that we invited him back for the discussion this week. So we'll be talking about Jacob's Wife, film from Travis Stevens, starring Barbara Crampton and Larry Fessenden. And pretty excited to talk about this. And we'll jump into that in, I don't know, about 30, 40 minutes or so. But as we always do, we will tend to shoot the shit and hear some ridiculous stories about MZ choking on chicken.
That hasn't happened over a year. All right.
It's a shame.
Why is that a shame?
No, I'm just kidding. Of course it's not a shame. So MZ, I saw that you drove by the Polar Park. Are you excited about the Worcester Red Sox?
No. Yeah. I drove by it, and after visiting Raven Shadow's establishment, and as I drove by, I mean, the park looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that. But as you're driving by, there's the store on the floor level, and in big letters on the glass it says it's called the W store, and I'm thinking, well, at least they didn't call it the Woo store, that would just send me into a fit of rage.
I think that's a missed opportunity. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
do too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant.
Oh, God damn it! I hate it. It's in a horrible place. There's only one street that gets you in or out. I mean, you think Foxborough is bad. This is way worse. I mean, they basically plunked a minor league ballpark smack dab in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
And
So?
Massachusetts roads fucked up enough as it is.
Wait, have they fixed Kelly Square?
The peanut.
They've done some renovations to it, but I can't say that it's any better than what it was.
So it's not a death
It's
zone?
a peanut-shaped rotary.
The what? Aries?
It's a peanut-shaped rotary.
Yeah, pretty much.
So-
pretty much. They've made a couple of they made the main road that you take when you drive past Polar Park and head back to my place. They made it a double line. They made it a double line now rather than just a single piece of road. Now they made it a double, so you can either go back into say Millbury, or you can start hitting, what is it, 495? I think no, not 495.
290.
290.
290. What is it?
290.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 290.
Wow. How
So-
long have you lived in this city?
I don't pay attention to things like this. Leave me alone. But this just looks awful. It's and I can only imagine how bad it's going to get when they start playing games. How bad the traffic is going to be. It's going to be awful.
MZ,
It's really going to be bad.
are you allergic to peanut-shaped rotaries?
I could very well be.
You have to carry one of those
EpiPen.
EpiPens with you when you go through.
Yeah,
EpiPen.
I'll go there kicking and screaming. Believe me, if anyone wants to take me, I'll go kicking and screaming. I'm not going to enjoy it.
I think Smoke and Tie was going to take you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Smoke and Tie is going to ask me at some point.
Oh,
I know that it's just going to happen.
Actually, Jay knows Smoke and Tie. We all used to work together. That's
Right.
Mr. Sweet.
Mr. Sweet.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Sweet.
The old school days. That's before he was
we
even
used to go to Sox games together. Remember that?
Yeah, I think we went to 9 or 11 in one season. I think it was all in almost 1 or 2 months too. We bought a whole bunch of tickets.
Yeah, it was like 2 months at the end of the season.
Yeah.
In one of those 90s years when they sucked.
Oh yeah, you can get tickets easy.
Butch Hobson was snorting coke in the dugout.
That would make baseball more interesting to some people these days, I'm sure.
Well, wasn't that the thing too with what was it, Grant Fuhrer, the goaltender for the Oilers in the 80s? Those awesome Gretzky, Messier teams that he was hopped up on coke all those years, and it's no wonder why the guy was making saves out of his ass,
Yeah, no shit.
and no concept of time and space. Anyway,
That's ridiculous.
I miss those days of medicine when it's what'll cure you? Here's some coke and absinthe. Perfect. That's way better than penicillin.
You miss those days, Raven Shadow?
I missed them.
Oh,
But
I thought you were saying you missed them.
No, I was too either born too late or born too soon. You know what I mean?
The Trick or Treat Radio death pool would have looked very different if you were living in those days.
It's true. Well, it might be. Just saying. Put your money down now. Just in case.
So Jay, what's new since last time we saw you?
there wasn't anything new the last time we talked. We hadn't talked in a fucking year. Nothing. I saw a good movie, but I don't want to talk about it right now because you'll probably want to talk about it later at some point. But
okay.
I saw a movie I liked.
Give us a tease.
It's coming out. It's coming out in July. It's apparently based on a video game. I knew nothing about that. And it's a little comedy. I don't want to say horror, but it's sort of a comedy mystery horror movie. So anyway, so I saw a good movie. I went to the dentist. I got a teeth cleaning. So that was
good for you.
You know, I got to go see the perio to see about an implant. That's, you know, in case that's relevant for anything.
For those taking notes at home about Jay's life.
Yeah. Well, you're saying what's new. That's about it. And I can tell you one thing that is new movie related. That's related to what we talked about last week. The walls are going up for the new cinema next week. So.
Nice.
So the chalk lines are down and the framing is going up starting next week. So possibly by September 1st, we might have a new cinema in Charlotte when people start coming back to the movies. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was a kind of a final. Thing. I don't know. Again, I don't know if any of this is interesting, or I always feel like, you could just cut this out later, right? But then I remembered, shit, this is all live.
Yeah.
Damn it. It's like I'm trying to give you things to, see what you want to use,
Use it all.
Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with everyone else. That's,
Well, I always said, when if I was to ever win the lottery, that what the hell is so funny? Jesus.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I can't open my mouth without him laughing about something.
If I was to get lucky
I've always
and have
wanted
sex,
to
might as well just say that.
have sex. I don't even know what that is anymore.
Full of 50s and a bouquet of dildos.
That I would open up my own theater. That I would open up my own grindhouse theater. Something modern day, but still maintain the ambiance of the old 42nd Street movie theaters back in the day, and without the stale cigarette smoke and piss and puke, I'll supply like scratch and sniff cards for that kind of shit, but the movies, all grindhouse, all exploitation, or spaghetti westerns, or 70s sci-fi shit like that. Really,
I thought he was going to say Wes Anderson movies. I'm like, I don't think those are grindhouse movies. I was like, that's a double feature of Pieces and Moonrise Kingdom. That's a
True, yeah.
double feature.
The Sunday Maniac and Royal Tenenbaums. Perfect.
Yeah.
Bottle rocket and I spit on your grave. Wonderful. People will love it.
What would you call it, MZ? Do you have a name in mind for your theater?
For my god damn. No, I never really got that far. I figure I'd wait until I get the several $1 million that I would need to build it. Then I would start thinking about a name.
So you figured out your porn name, Brad Dragon, before you were in porn, but you love something so much that you haven't figured out the name yet.
He's not wrong.
And let's not forget,
like that.
you've picked your porn name 3 times over.
That is true.
Well, you got to go by aliases. That's how you get more work.
Wait. Let's tell Jay. So we first had what was it? Rocky Overhang.
Rocky Overhang.
And then we had what was the second one?
Dick de la Creme.
Dick de la Creme. And then we also had Brad Dragonsack.
Yeah. I got to admit that one's a little weak, but...
It's a lot weak. I think Dick de la Creme is the winner.
like the first one though. What's it? What Dick Overhang?
Rocky Overhang.
Rocky.
Overhang. Okay, well. He needs all those names so when he traverses in and out of like straight porn, gay porn, like you gotta have the different,
Well, I won't lie. Dick de la Creme does sound like it belongs in a gay porn.
Yeah, that's your non-hetero or bi or cuckold porn or something. Or,
Yeah, you're gonna have a certain section in your movie theater now.
Yeah, that's hey, Grindhouse.
Yeah,
in the literal Grindhouse.
And there was one more name. Remember how I mentioned to you guys about there was one more name that I was mentioning, but I didn't mention it to you. But I said there was one more name that came up. My girlfriend, she got a text from somebody that she once had in her phone, but wasn't in her phone anymore. So just the number came up. It says, "Hey, how's it going?" And she's looking at me and saying, "I don't know who this person is that's texting me. Who the fuck is this guy?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I just say, who is this? So she puts in, "Who is this?" And whoever it was that was texting back, he says, dreads, black guy. That's how he described himself. And she says to me in her way, she says, reading the text verbatim, she says, she goes, dreads, black guy. And I'm thinking, wait a second, are you telling me that guy's name is Dreads Black Guy?
Oh my God.
And that first thing, I'm thinking to myself, now that's a fucking name.
What what is going on?
Second of all, I'm thinking, I'm such a goddamn amateur. That's the name I should be using.
No, definitely not.
Don't use that name.
Come on. Can you imagine?
Jay, so what have you been up to this week?
Well, I got my teeth cleaned. I went to Charleston, South Carolina for the first time.
Can you imagine me? Can you imagine me going to a casting call and they ask for Dreads Black Guy and I walk through the door?
My God.
Nope.
No. So what? So Jay, what color is the lobby gonna be?
Well, I'm not sure yet. We're working on that.
Maybe a nice teal.
Oh, you guys are nuts.
Yeah, something. So kind of. Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep it sort of simple and classy.
No, I think the dental conversation is interesting for later on as we discuss things. So
That is true. That is true. I did have a couple of. Again, not to completely derail what's already been derailed, but I did have a couple of things when I was in the dentist's office where I was like, there's this weird thing I have with medicine in general, but dentistry in particular, where it's like, it seems like it's evolved, but it really hasn't.
No.
It's like the same stuff from when I was like a kid. I mean, it's like the exact same, with some slight differences. And then that's one of the things, I have to get an implant, and they're just like, they're explaining to you what the implant is. And it's basically like, yeah, we're going to take a drill and we're going to drill into your jaw, and then we're going to put a screw in.
Ow.
Like a literal screw. We're just going to put a screw in your jaw. And then, 5 weeks later, somebody will put like a little enamel crown on top of it and it'll look like a tooth. And my brain is like, I thought medicine evolved. This is like George Washington shit. Like wires and, what I'm saying? Like,
medicine.
I don't know what they're charging you for that, but I can drill and put a screw in for half the cost.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, Anyway. Did we get off the other conversation?
Medicine's evolved. It's the teeth that haven't evolved.
I'm just saying the tools in the dentist's office, I'm like, it's the same thing. They're using a little pick and a little mirror, and they're using the same little I don't know, little spit little thing, take a little sip in the cup, my brain is like, I don't.
Well, it's a little disturbing that your dentist tools mimic the tools in my workshop.
Yeah.
Drill and screwdrivers and,
I love it.
know.
Aries Dentistry, fucking he'll fucking knock him out with you.
Yeah, I mean, I have insurance, so if you want to make a few extra bucks, I'm happy to come up and
I'll come down, drill your teeth, help you build the theater.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right.
Aries is
talking. See, now we're getting somewhere.
Aries is good. He's a handyman. He could do it.
Yeah.
Aries will build a fucking theater in your mouth. What do you think of that?
Wow. Evil Corny says I couldn't even
I was
save.
gonna make. I was. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. Evil Corny said I couldn't even save MZ from that one.
We were trying. He just kept on digging. I don't know.
I was gonna make a pun related to Handyman and Grindhouse, but I couldn't quite work it out. Like the Handyman and the Grindhouse, I couldn't quite figure out how that would work exactly. So
getting a handy in the Grindhouse.
Like you don't want to be a handyman in the Grindhouse cinema. Like that's not the job you want to have. Especially at MZ's Grindhouse Cinema, you do not want that job.
No.
Oh shit, MZ's.
Well, if you ever get your cinema, MZ, I got 2 35mm projectors that are all yours if you want them.
Wow,
I'll take them.
So you can run some good old scratched up 70s porn, no problem. It's all
Some 8mm loops and
I will donate my 35mm print of Miami Connection to the cinema.
Oh,
so you can run it whenever you want.
You better get this thing going now, MZ.
Yeah, come on. Now you got to move.
Now I gotta do it.
Yeah.
I'll even come up and project. I'll do the projection for you, MZ.
There you go. Well, look at that.
I'll project the films. It's been a little while, so I don't.
We got a handyman. We got a projectionist.
No, we'll get Mickey Rourke for the projectionist.
You have to pay for food and board.
Yeah,
right, but you got to pay for food and board because I can't foot the bill for everything.
Well, yeah, you pay him as a projectionist, and he gets his own place. That's how it works. Yeah. When you pay people for work, they spend the money on utilities and rent and that sort of thing.
Or if he's willing to be the projectionist, you know what? I think we could find a little cubby hole for him to sleep in when.
Yeah. See, you want to avoid cubby hole and handyman when you're mentioning. You don't want to mention those terms when you're talking about your Grindhouse theater. Hey. I got a cubby hole for you. Come on down to the basement.
Yeah.
Or a glory hole.
Jesus.
Again, now that's too right for the obvious.
I know that's a little on the nose. I know, figuratively and literally.
I was about to say you don't want to mention being on the nose in the glory hole. That's not a good.
Imagine Wolfie getting a room in my theater and nothing but it's got like a string of glory holes around the perimeter of the room. And they're like, oh.
I think Raven Chow's got me taken care of. Raven Chow, I'll stay at your place. All right?
Yeah. That's why it's called a cubby hole, not a glory hole. It's like a living quarter, but then it has, and if Wolfie shaves and he could be a little cub,
mad cub glory.
You get hairs to come in and
Oh boy!
I hung around Kelly Square. I know what's up.
Oh man, yeah. No, I'm not liking the studio idea anymore.
I hung around the Art Cinema in downtown Worcester back in the day. Remember that place? What was it called? The Paris Art Cinema?
Paris Cinema. Yeah.
The fucking school any bit of that fucking joint. I'll tell you that.
I've told my story about being in there once.
Yes, you have. Nobody wants
to hear. What a place.
Nobody wants to hear that again.
I was about to say, it got real quiet. Nobody wants to see it.
Oh, God, what a Jesus.
But we had a couple though. There was one down by Tammany Hall too, on on Pleasant Street. It's funny. We had 2 adult theaters in the.
Did you say theaters?
I say theaters.
Who do
Yeah.
you think you are, James Lipton?
I don't do an impression, but yes, I mean that's more. I don't know. It's not James Lipton, but no, we did have 2, porn theaters in walking distance of each other for a while, and that was the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
And now we're the home of the Woo-Star Red Sox.
The Woo Store.
The Woo Store.
Woo store. Jesus.
Evil
Can we
Corny-
just acknowledge? Oh, can we just acknowledge too that the porno theater was on Pleasant Street? Can we just make that acknowledgement for a second?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty. They talk about on the nose. I'm heading down to Pleasant Street.
Yeah, fuck Easy Street.
Boner Boulevard.
Jeez. Anyways, Corny says, I've had the same dentist since I was 10. My dentist hasn't aged, and if it wasn't for COVID, he'd still have the same highlights magazines on his coffee table from when I was a kid.
No kidding.
That's crazy.
Yeah, with Goofus and Gallant. Goofus was awesome. Gallant was such a prick.
Such a prick?
Such a goody two-shoes little bastard. Goofus was awesome. Goofus would get himself in all sorts of trouble and start shit up.
Goofus and Ronaldo?
Huh?
Goofus and Ronaldo?
No, not Goofus and Ronaldo.
That's good. That's good.
That is actually. Listen to Raven Shadow. He's on point tonight. What the hell?
Yeah.
Did you have a good day today,
That's
Raven
all.
Shadow?
No.
No? Maybe that's why.
You said that with such joy.
Yeah.
I know.
Terrible. I'm hanging out with you guys because this is fucking. I got 3 hours of fucking. What do they call it? I've seen it in fucking commercials and on cards at CVS. Happiness. So I'm just gonna embrace this urban legend I've heard about. So I'm just hanging out with my boys.
You had 3 hours of happiness today? Wow, that's amazing.
No, Spider-Man's amazing, but no, I'm hoping that the next 3 hours are good.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm hoping. It's been a good time.
How's the first half hour been so far?
Consistent.
All right, we got to do better, gents. We have to do
Yeah.
better for Raven.
I'm actually looking at some of these Goofus and Gallant little cartoons, and you're right, Goofus was a fucking douche. Or was it Gallant you said was a douche? Which one?
Gallant was a douche.
Why?
Gallant was a douche. Goofus
Why?
was awesome. 'Cause
Goofus
Goofus didn't give a shit.
Goofus says, I won't let them play with my car. And then Gallant says, they'll help me play with my toys. So Goofus was selfish. He was a selfish little fuck.
Sometimes it pays to be selfish.
Goofus and his playmate are noisy while Mother is taking a nap. But Gallant says, Mother is taking a nap. We must play quietly.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Goofus is a dick right here. Goofus throws stones at birds. That motherfucker. But Gallant scatters feed for the birds. What are you going to say about that, MZ?
Well, it's birds is the difference, As long as he's not hurting any animals, he's fine.
Squirrels are scared of Goofus, but squirrels eat from Gallant's hands.
No, they don't.
Yeah, it does. I'm
Squirrels
looking at
don't
it.
do that, no matter how nice they are.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
These are fucking hilarious. I forgot about these. Goofus says, give me a leg of that turkey right now. I'm hungry. While his mother's preparing a turkey. Gallant says, I'm very hungry. I can hardly wait for dinner. Gallant's a much nicer boy.
That's just a product of poor parenting on Goofus's part. That's not his fault. You can't blame everything on Goofus.
Blame it on you. Like, I think that's your new nickname, Goofus.
Yeah, there's a lot coming into view here. The picture's becoming a little clear. that MZ staunchly defended Goofus before he started looking at those. And there's a picture forming. It's a very clear, it's like the fog is sort of lifting, and it's like, okay, all right. It all makes sense now.
I find it absolutely amazing that you remember the names of these cartoons.
Yeah, that was shocking. That was shocking.
Goofus and Gallant was the one thing I would turn to whenever I went to a doctor's office and Highlights for Children was there. Even today, nowadays, if there's Highlights for Children, I'm going to read it. And I want to see what kind of shenanigans Goofus is up to. Even today,
I'm glad Raven Shadow raised his hand because I had a question too.
Yes, Raven Shadow. Go ahead.
So, and once again, I'm only making the joke because you're better and everything worked out in the end, despite it being problematic. But now, when you were diagnosed with COVID, is that the first thing you went for in the doctor's office? It was like, all right, before I go in, let's see what fucking Goofus and Gandalf. What are they called? What are they?
Goofus and Gallant.
Gallant. What's good for the goose is good for the goof up. I don't know what you fuck you're saying, but no. But did you have the instinct to go for Highlights for kids at almost 50?
No, not an automatic instinct. No, but you happen to see it. If I see it,
I find this amazing is when I go to my doctor's office because I go to an adult doctor. There's time and people and USA Today. I haven't seen a Highlights in a doctor's office since my kid was 18, okay? I don't know what doctor you're going to.
That's the question I had, Aries. I'm very glad what doctor's office are you going to that has children's magazine?
I go to a regular doctor.
A regular doctor.
A pediatrician or a doctor? I mean,
not a pediatrician.
Because there's two different things.
No, I don't go to a pediatrician, you ass.
Why is there Highlights then?
To be fair, MZ's a big fan of the PD popsicles they have, the PD lights.
I think, though, we do know one thing, if we've learned anything, is that for the Patreon special, we do have to get some Highlights magazines for the 50th Roto-Rooter of MZ Patreon special. He can be read on it while he's on his side. He can have the Highlights open.
Yeah, when MZ gets his prostate exam at 50, he's going to be reading Highlights magazine.
You got any Highlights, Doc? I need some of my Highlights.
I got to see what Goofus and Gallant are up to.
Well, Goofus would be like...
Wait, when Goofus goes to get his...
Goofus would be like, will you hurry up? Goofus would be like, will you hurry up, Doc, and rip this thing out of my ass while Gallant will lay there silently and take the exam like a man.
No, Gallant would actually give a compliment to the doctor. Oh, your hands are so warm, Doc. I appreciate the gentle nature for which you're massaging my prostate.
Goofus would not clean his ass for a week prior to going.
And Gallant would be like on a bidet, like beforehand, like I gotta get nice and clean for the doctor to make sure.
Gallant took his soapy enema and did his pre-prep.
That's right.
Just screams at the doctor with his cold hands.
Well, and here's what I want to know, because you were looking this up, Wolfie.
Yeah.
Hi, Gallant.
Are they still making Goofus and Gallant, and are they like new, or are they just recycling like the same ones from 1965? Like, is there a 2021 Goofus and Gallant? And is it like Goofus is like, that kid talked shit to me on the playground, so I'm gonna, cap his ass or something? Or and Gallant's like, well, you should really just talk out your problems over PlayStation 5. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
Goofus looks at porn on his new iPhone.
Yeah, right.
Goofus just opened in a clip suit, AK-47. Gallant No, put the safety on. Like,
Apparently, it's still being done. So I'm looking into this.
Like new one.
Yeah. So
That's incredible.
yeah, it's still holy shit. Still doing it.
Wow.
It looks much
Yeah.
different
Well-
now
well-
than it used to, but yeah, they're still doing it.
And again, I think the thing is, we don't have to worry about bringing a highlights for MZ's prostate exam because the doctor he goes to clearly will have them. So, they'll just be there. So,
Well, I mean,
The only concern is whether someone has done spot the difference yet.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh yes, I've done that too. I've done that and the timber toes.
Oh my god.
Spot the difference. Aries is right. Spot the difference is another one that I did. It was always spot the difference, the timber toes, Goofus and Gallant, and even the male. The letters that they would have at the end, writing to highlights for children. Oh, I
How many
always
letters did you write? How many letters did you write into highlights?
That's
This
not
year.
important now.
It's none of your
Not
business. Matchel of Omaha is hanging out, and
Oh, nice.
Hey,
and Matchel says, "Yeah, what the fuck? Adult doctors stock highlights." and then he says, "Goofus."
yes, they would.
He says, "Goofus binges Taco Bell before a colonoscopy."
Yeah.
Say that again. I didn't hear that. You were laughing. What were you saying?
Goofus binges Taco Bell before a colonoscopy. While Gallant eats salad the night before.
Yeah, it's like,
Well, it doesn't
it's
tell
like
you
he
that
has,
it's a
has a
taco
good
spell.
roughage,
Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly.
I also wanted to comment too that I'm sure this is getting a little bit sidetracked, but because it came up, and I'm sure this is a very specific type of fetish pornography.
Oh boy.
But Timber Toes would be a great porn name, but it would have to be for a very specific fetish site, like I'm Timber Toes, like a pedal pushing site or something, like.
You're
No,
going way out of my reach.
It's right next to
I don't believe that.
it's right next to cake farts.
I've never actually gone down that route. I've only heard that that's a thing, and I don't think I want to know what that is. So let's move on. I was just making the name. I like Timber Toes. I thought Timber Toes was like a neat. I could see like a very a tiny person. Very, very like, like 5'5", like thin. I'm Timber Toes.
Well, here's what I was picturing is a woman that gives foot jobs to lumberjack.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's just where my mind went.
That's brilliant. That's
Wow.
brilliant. That is brilliant. That is
Wow.
And I just want to know where the line is for that because I want to.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aries,
That was.
Aries. He's
No, I
on
love
his,
it.
on his toes here. He's on his timber.
He's on his Timber
pretty quick.
Toes. Yeah.
He thought of that pretty quick.
He could be the lumberjack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to know where the line is.
And so it has to. And so then I don't know. You tell me, Aries, because you're the one. Because that's brilliant. To me, it would have to be a tall woman, like an extremely tall woman.
No. A nice tiny woman, small feet.
Okay.
You can have a woman with small feet to
Okay.
make the dick look bigger.
Yeah. Well, as an Irish, it's often Irish.
I've put way too much thought into this.
No, it's good though. I like it. You're cornering a market here.
Time.
We're learning
You're
way too much about all of us tonight.
Let's all share. Fuck it. Let's just fuck the movie. Let's just fucking let it all. Treat, whatever the fuck. Go to commercial. Fucking Q Buster. Let's get real. We're fucking.
Let's bust those Timber Toes. Let's go. bust through a couple of cubby holes with those Timber Toes and.
And to be fair, Gordy, you're in the back. You're into some weird shit too, my friend. So let's all share. Let's all Everyone's safe here.
Yeah, we've all licked our share of peanut butter. I mean, come on, it's fine.
It's fun.
I heard that somewhere. I can't take. That's from something somewhere.
Matthew of Omaha says lumberjacks trying on shoes. And he says Aries got me in tears.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant. That was.
I think he had given it some thought ahead of time.
Yeah, I was going to say he thought of that way too quick. He's had that on time.
Oh, he's a handyman. Well, see, now that's interesting because he called himself
he's a footy man.
I did call myself a handyman, but you know what? I mean, I'm not a lumberjack, but I am a sawyer. I cut trees.
Yeah,
so my mind goes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's not a handyman. He's a footy man.
He's got to think of something as he's cutting down trees. So, you know. Imagine after a while, the mind just goes to places where you don't normally think it would go, and just to pass the boredom and fill the time up. Well done, Aries.
I'm so happy you think cutting trees down is boring.
It's exciting.
Yes.
Okay, then. Fuck me, huh?
Yes, fuck you.
I'd rather cut down trees than like work in a fucking warehouse. So Aries wins.
I've been doing warehouse work for 20 years.
I know.
Okay.
Go cut some trees down.
The only way I keep that interest, I keep it interesting for myself.
What do you think about when you're? If Aries thinks about that while he's working, I'd hate to know what you're thinking about. He thinks of porn names.
When you watch Battle Royale,
I just think about shit.
What, Rage Shadow?
when he's watching Battle Royale on break, yeah, I got 10-minute break. Let me watch the first part of Kong versus Godzilla, and then tomorrow for 10-minute break, I'll watch the other part. And by the time I see and August comes, I'll watch the picture.
No, but a couple weeks ago during my lunch break, I watched Clue. So there's that.
How long is your lunch break?
It's only half an hour, but I watched half an hour of Clue.
I do love that movie.
As you should.
Yeah, I watched the Snyder Cut during lunch.
Yeah.
All right, so we should start to wrap things up. I did want to talk about a couple things. We don't really always talk about what we've been watching, but I actually watched a couple things this week. I watched Mortal Kombat. Thought it was fun.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It was a fun time.
It was.
Raven Chow, you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I want to step on your mojo, J Dubs, but it was. I watched it.
But I'm going to.
But I watched it on Sunday. I tried a new pizza place. Was very excited about the turnout of that. And Ollie and I watched the Mortal Kombat. And listen, it ain't fucking Casablanca game. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know this is like it's like Yankees, Red Sox down the fucking middle, Republicans, Democrats, fucking on these camps. But like, and fair. I'm not a gamer. I play video games, but I know video games have more of a story nowadays, which I guess, you could argue comic books to screen. Oh, the books are more in depth, but I'm at an age where like, I don't give a fuck about video game storylines. Once again, much respect if you're into it. But end of the day, it's fucking Mortal Kombat. They had blood. That was the big gimmick, but I thought it was fun. I thought Kano was fucking great.
Yeah.
Kano stole the show.
Yeah, I think so too. He was, I thought the whole movie was generally pretty fun. I think the fight scenes were good. I'm a big fan of Joe Taslim, so it was good seeing him as Sub-Zero. And it was good to see a movie that wasn't completely whitewashed like the original Mortal Kombat.
Right. He had an Asian rating, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Not Christopher Lambert.
Oh wow. Oh, he's great though too. And in Warriors, what's his face? Remar. James Remar was second rating, wasn't he?
Oh, I think you're right. Holy shit. Second rating.
Yeah. Second Raiden.
Was that from
But-
the sequel?
Yeah, yeah.
Annihilation.
Which the Annihilation was like Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. It kind of did all the same things as the original, but yet shitty. But I thought Kung Lao was dope, and there was some fatalities. I rewound a couple of times where I'm like, oh, that didn't just fucking happen, but it fucking did. You know what I'm talking about, right?
The Kung Lao where his hat was in the ground. That one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There was a couple pretty good ones, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like I would have probably paid to see it in the theater if things were normal, but I'm not mad. I got to see it at home, you know. So also I watched a documentary series on Hulu called Sasquatch, which I thought was fun.
Oh,
Yeah. You see it, Jay?
I have. I would agree.
Yeah, it was good. I think they did a good job, and it didn't overstay its welcome with 3 episodes. It moves at a pretty steady
3
pace.
episodes. Boom. Yeah. No, I would agree. I thought, again, you know, I know I say this a lot, but going into that, not knowing at all what it was, and just going, I don't know what this is, and then it's like a mystery, I guess, right? You know, sort of a mystery combined with kind of a crime documentary. And so I was like, it was, again, very, very sort of quick pace, 3 episodes, under 3 hours for the whole thing. Gets in, gets out. So yeah, no, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I definitely was like, it was good.
Yeah. I watched the first one thinking, okay, let me just see if I dig it, and if I do, I'll watch the others. And you know, it was compelling enough to make me want to watch. Like I watched one on like I want to say like Friday night, and then I was like, well, I'm kind of into it. There's 2 more. I'll just watch the other 2, and I think I'll watch them on Saturday night. So yeah, it's kind of a fun watch.
Well, I think it's one of those things too where it's sort of like spells out what it is right at the beginning in a weird way, and so you're sort of like, well, this is bullshit.
Right.
So you kind of almost stay in that first episode to be like, how are they going to play this out? And then all of a sudden you realize, like a left-hand turn where the person's like, oh yeah, I totally think that's bullshit, but I'm actually interested in what the fuck they were talking about, you know? So it becomes a whole, you know, so then you're like, oh, okay, all right. The guy's not really claiming something, right? I don't want to give anything away, but
yeah, no, it's pretty interesting, and it takes you down some, you know, kind of interesting paths you didn't expect. But yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah. And I'm a sucker for anything Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I'm a sucker. You put Sasquatch or Bigfoot in it, except for Bigfoot versus D.B. Cooper, right? Stay away from that one.
Do you ever see The Search? I think it's called The Search for Bigfoot, 1975.
Oh yeah. The like the documentary film almost. Like it looks like a documentary. Yeah. No, that movie. I actually think I saw that movie. I have a vague memory of seeing that in the theaters in the late 70s.
Wow, really?
With my mother, and the only thing I remembered was the scene of them telling this tale of the, you know, the Bigfoot's throwing the rocks at the cabin, and then the chef running out of the outhouse with like his long johns, trying to pull his long johns up while he's as a little kid, you know, 7, 6. I have a 27 by 40 poster of that somewhere floating around in my house. Yeah, the Legend of Sasquatch or something like that. It's called. It has a couple of titles.
Yeah, The Legend of Bigfoot. Yeah, that's it. The Legend of Bigfoot. That's it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think even I think MZ and Aries would even dig Sasquatch. I know MZ, you're a big fan of crime series, at least some of the ones that are on Netflix that you've seen. It's only 3 episodes too. I think I think it's compelling enough, and there's definitely some interesting characters in it. So
yeah.
All right, so we've been blabbing long enough. We're got a movie to talk about, so we should get to it. So If you guys want to help support the show, there's a few ways you can do so. The number one way is through Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/trickortreatradio. And who knows, maybe we'll get that MZ 50th 50th birthday prostate exam.
It's happening sometime this year. You know, I got a schedule for it. So
That's a Patreon.
If you don't want that, sign up for Patreon. So that's you guys can I've blabbed enough about Patreon every week. We will be releasing in a few days the second part of our found footage two-parter, and we'll be doing MZ's top 10 favorite found footage films. So you'll definitely want to check that out. If you haven't checked out the first one, go ahead and give that a listen. It is on Patreon, patreon.com/trickortreatradio. You can help support the show for as little as $2 a month. And there's a bunch of other tiers and a bunch of other benefits as well, so give it a look and help support us. Also, you can go to trickortreatradio.com, and on the website there, scroll down, you'll see on the right-hand side there's going to be an Amazon link. You click that, it brings you to Amazon, it inputs our affiliate link, and everything you purchase in that session will get attributed to us. Doesn't cost them any extra, Raven Shadow.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. So if you guys want to help support the show and use Amazon anyways, that's the best way to do it, is just click on that link and just shop like you normally do, and we get a little percentage of that. Also, we have the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio Volumes 1 through 3 on the trickortreatradio.com store. Just click store, and there you'll see digital content. And if you guys have not been around for the duration of the show, I certainly don't blame you. We have 457 episodes, plus, what is it, Raven Shadow? We got the episode 0, we got the Halloween specials, we got the year-end specials, all that shit. So
the Star Wars specials,
Star Wars
which led off,
specials.
which, to be fair, created the Force and Sensitive podcast that Johnny does the day before us.
It's true.
Just saying.
It's true. So that all that if you haven't been around for the whole duration, there's a lot of stuff. I don't expect everyone to go back and listen to them all, so we've collected some of the highlights, lowlights, the midlights, everything in between. So if you guys want to go check that out, check out the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio Volumes 1, 2, and 3 on trickortreatradio.com. All right, Michael Raven Shadow. So you sit down to watch Jacob's wife. What do you do to prepare for this movie?
Well, I make sure Jacob's fucking out of town for a couple of days. I'm going to watch Jacob's wife. I'll tell you that much. It's not my first rodeo. So I wait till Jacob has gone away. And then I stay. And this is getting dirty and weird. Not what I planned to do at all, but I fucking took it down a dark realm, and Jay's getting me going. So you better believe I'm fucking strapped on.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
we have action.
horror.
An adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast,
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast!
a podcast for the barbarian at heart.
I'm Alex West.
And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio. Some of us are. It's one of the first times that Aries hasn't been in his chair. All right, so we're going to talk about Jacob's Wife. This film is from 2021. It is not rated. And it is 98 minutes. The film is directed by Travis Stevens, and it is written by Kathy Charles, Mark Steensland, and Travis Stevens. And the film stars Barbara Crampton, Larry Fessenden, Bonnie Aarons, Naisha Bell, Sarah Lind, Mark Kelly, and also Robert Russler. And
Yeah,
I had a feeling you'd be a big mark for that, MZ.
yeah.
Or Rob Russler. You know what? I didn't recognize him at first either.
No, I recognized him immediately
because of the beard and the way his hair was. But Ravenshaw's not in his fucking chair. I was gonna tell him who it was. I'll just wait because I'm not gonna say it again. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even realize it was Rob Russler. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Also features CM Punk and Jay Devon Johnson. And the synopsis for this film: Anne, married to a small-town minister, feels her life has been shrinking over the past 30 years. Encountering the Master brings her a new sense of power and an appetite to live bolder. However, the change comes with a heavy body count. All right, so we have talked quite a bit about Travis Stevens' films. He's only this is only his second film, I believe, that he's directed. Yes, it's only the second film that he's directed, but he has produced a whole slew of films that we've done over the years, including, let's see, just to name a few: Big Ass Spider, Jodorowsky's Dune, Starry Eyes, We Are Still Here, XX, 68 Kill, Mohawk, and just to name a few. So, as I mentioned, Travis is now working behind the camera as a director, and he did the film The Girl on the Third Floor, which we did last year, I believe it was, and this is his latest effort, Jacob's Wife. Raven Shadow, while you're away, I was going to tell some information, but I wanted to wait till you were back because I didn't want to repeat it. But the guy who plays Tom Lowe, remember the character Tom Lowe?
I do.
Do you know who that actor was?
He played Tom Lowe.
Very good.
Wow. I actually did.
No,
I didn't know, so don't feel bad.
Can't throw him.
I didn't know, so don't feel bad, Raven Shadow. But he was Max in Weird Science. That was Robert Downey Jr.'s buddy.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, they call him Mad Max.
Yeah. That was him.
Yeah.
No shit. No shit.
No shit.
No shit.
Wait. Say that again. I'm sorry. He was whose buddy in Weird Science? Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. In Weird Science.
Robert Downey Jr. was in that movie. I don't even remember him.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the movie. Okay.
Jay, you got to watch it sometime soon.
Okay. Jay, you're fucking fired. Just hang up. You're done.
Wait a second.
Wow.
Wait a second. You've never
Brother.
seen
All right. Well,
I put you over the intro or something. Come on, dog. I love you so much.
We brought you back.
yeah, I know. I feel I don't know this. I remember Bill Paxton, and I remember obviously like who's the guy from Hills Have Eyes is in that movie, and I know the movie. I know he's like, this is the movie. Oh, really? I don't remember an '80s movie with Kelly LeBrock in her underwear. Yeah, I don't remember that movie. Come on. I just don't. Were they like? Because I think I always think of Robert Downey Jr. in Back to School. That's like the '80s movie that's in my brain with Robert Downey.
I mean, he was. They were the kind of like the villain pair.
Okay,
They were the bullies.
Yeah, I can't picture the women either. I don't know what the girls look like. One of them was blonde, and I think one was brunette. But I can't.
Yeah, we don't care about the women.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who cares? So anyway, so he's his friend. Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
And Robert Russler was also Jesse's friend in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. That makes sense to me.
He was the one that was like, on the rocks is fine. Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
All right, bend over, and I'll stick it straight up your ass.
On the rocks is fine.
So he was in Jacob's Wife. Okay. Tom Lowe.
Tom Lowe.
He played Tone Loc in Jacob's Wife.
He's one of the ones that wore the bra on his head, Jay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they all wore bras on their heads.
I still thought on the rocks is fine anytime someone pours me a drink many years ago.
Crazy, insane.
Insane, crazy.
Oh shit!
Telephone. Oh.
What this boy be talking about on the telephone? Where's Pain?
Hey, that don't fly in 2021.
I know.
It's appropriate. It's cultural appropriation. You can't do that. That's calling yourself Dreads Black Street or whatever.
My head went halfway up my ass, but that's perfect.
You can't do that. You can't. I mean, think about that. Honestly, you probably couldn't have that scene in a movie now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of scenes in that movie you can't do anymore.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to make half of the '80s movies today.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we're all so fucked up.
Speaking of which, I've seen bits and pieces of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I've never seen, I've never watched from the beginning. So I went back and was going to watch the first episode, and the first episode is called "The Gang Gets Racist" or something along those lines. Has any of you guys seen the first episode of It's Always Sunny?
I have. It's been a while, but I've been watching it. Yeah.
And it was made in 2005. It is fucking cringeworthy. I watched it with T-Dog, and we were like kind of like dumbfounded after watching it how like rough it was. And that was 16 years ago.
But
there's a lot in that show that it's just like they push boundaries, and it's just like, okay, you know what, this, even if like today they push a boundary, it's like, okay, you know what, tomorrow this is going to be so inappropriate and you shouldn't make it. Like that is what this show is about.
But those are bad characters doing bad things. You don't want to be friends with those people. The first episode I ever saw was when they like the brother and sister did crack to get money. I'm like, well, I didn't know what FX.
The thing is, though, it's played for laughs. Like it's not that. And reading an interview with them, they're like, oh well, they're just idiots, but like racism isn't the butt of a joke. You know what I mean? Like that's like a real thing for a lot of people that they have to go through. So it was really cringy, and I don't know that I'm going to watch anymore after that. Actually, so
watch Community, dude.
I did. I tried. I got through like 6 episodes or something like that, and it just didn't really grab me that much.
Really?
So Jacob's Wife.
Yeah. So we were talking about Rob Russler, and that got us on a tangent. So, thanks, Rob. All right. So Jacob's Wife, and this is an interesting one. There's part of this. Part of me wants to talk about some spoilery stuff because I think there is some themes in here that I'd like to discuss, but we may be able to play with the themes without diving into, the actual plot of the movie to give stuff away, just in case people haven't seen it and they want to. But the film basically we meet Anne, who is played by Barbara Crampton, and she is a minister's wife, aka Jacob, played by Larry Fessenden. So we got a dynamite duo right off the bat. We got Barbara Crampton, we got Larry Fessenden. MZ, what did you think of just seeing these two as a couple in a movie?
They're perfect. Well, they weren't they both in We Are Still Here? I know Fessenden was. I'm trying to think. Was Crampton in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're both in it, but
so
not as husband and wife. Yeah.
Right, but they've worked together, so they got a good chemistry. So they know each other, and they got a good chemistry together. It's not so much that these two are playing a couple. I'm just trying to get used to. I was trying to adjust to seeing Fessenden playing somebody so straight-laced.
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't have some sort of quirky, weird side to his character at all. He played a very straight-laced pastor or a minister. I think he called himself a minister.
Yeah. Not the sinister
And
minister.
so, no. And he just watching him playing somebody so on the level it took a little getting used to. I'll be honest. It took a little bit getting used to, because I'm so used to seeing him just doing something crazy or saying something crazy or combination of the two. And I mean, and just look at his IMDb page. Look at his photo. I mean, the guy's hair is all messed up. It's all disheveled and shit. He looks like hell. And I don't think that's from a role. I think that's just how he normally looks, So he's a wild guy. He's a wild character, that dude. And man, we've been trying to. We would love to get him on the show one of these days. But I always liked Fessenden. He cracks me up. But to see him straight laced like this, it took a little getting used to.
Yeah.
And as far as Crampton goes, I mean, what's there not to like about her? She's just like the darling to the horror community. She eats it up. She loves her fans. I'm on her Twitter page, and she just loves talking about horror, doing things with horror and things like that. So yeah, she's just all around cool. She really is great.
I'm sure you ate this all up, MZ, especially in one scene.
I'm sure I know exactly which one.
Oh man. So yeah, so you're right. It is I think this is definitely a bit out of not that Larry hasn't played a straight-laced kind of character before. I'm not sure. I haven't seen all of his films, but definitely a bit of a reversal for a lot of the roles that we've seen him play. So, but yeah, I mean, the two of them together were kind of a dynamic duo of seeing these two together, which was fun. And Anne, I mean, this, by the way, this film is very deliberately named. If that wasn't clear, Jacob's wife is speaking to sort of the almost, I wouldn't say anonymous, but she's sort of like the wife. She is the minister's wife. That's her role in life at the beginning of this movie, is she's the wife of the minister. She doesn't have her own identity. It's not Anne, it's Jacob's wife. So I feel that this movie is very deliberately named. And right off the bat, we get this sort of glimpse into Anne not really loving her life. It's been 30 years they've been married, and she is just kind of like going through the motions. She's really not all that happy, and like she doesn't really make her own decisions. She just kind of like is a wife. That's kind of her job at the beginning of this, is just being a wife. And we see that she kind of is losing sort of like interest in it, or she just isn't very happy, I guess is a good way to put it. And then, we'll kind of get through the plot a little bit more, but things start to change when Rob Rustler comes into her life, Tom Lowe, and comes back into her life, I should say, because he's an old flame. And they get together, and Tom Lowe is very much into Anne and wants to sort of like, kind of rekindle old flame, and she kind of shuts him down. And they're at this old sort of abandoned factory where they're gonna sort of revamp it or revitalize it. And Tom Lowe is a architect or a builder or something along those lines. And so while they're there, they happen to sit on a crate, which just happens to be sort of like a coffin, I guess. And at this point, I mean, it's very clear later on, but this is very much derived from the Nosferatu version of vampires. So, MZ, I know you're a big fan of Nosferatu. So, but I want to get Jay involved in this. So, Jay, you were really excited to talk about this movie. What about the movie were you excited to discuss?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'll throw out a few things. The first thing I wanted to say is I think, because one thing MZ said about Fessenden, and he said, being so straight-laced, but the thing that I think is great about that is, he's still a very and again, I know it might have just been how you said it. He's still a very sort of quirky character. Just by the fact that he's a minister, he's sort of like this weird, like out of place, out of time, this like weird nerd. There's the scene early on with the punks at the car where it's like, come on, give me the, it's like, and it's the way he's talking. And while I get he's straight-laced, I think that's what makes him so perfect in the role, is because it's not like, I can't even think of a good actor that would maybe be better in like playing a straight-laced kind of minister guy. There's something about he's an awkward dude. So it's like the whole fact of him being this religious kind of person adds an element to it. But the thing that really got me about this movie, and I talk about this a lot, I know, because, I knew Travis Stevens directed this, and I've liked most of what Travis has produced. I liked Girl on the Third Floor, his directorial thing. And obviously, as MZ said, like Barbara Crampton to me for the last decade has been almost lights out in everything she's been in, to the point where, people almost need to stop, like, even though she loves it, referring to her as a horror actress and just refer to her as an actress, because she's that good to me. And I think some of these roles where she's getting a little bit more praise, even though they're horror films, tend to be rooted in, like this film, it's a marriage drama, essentially, in a genre film, right? And it only works because, it works for many reasons, but it works because, at the core are these two really good actors who can play it so well. So and I knew Fessenden, and I've liked some of his stuff, and I've always genuinely liked Larry Fessenden as a performer. I've always thought, like you said, MZ, that he's always, like, again, if he pops up even in The Ranger for, whatever it is, 2 minutes in one scene, he's just very effective as an actor. I think he's really good. I think he sort of comes in and does what he needs to do. And so I was sort of aware of all these elements and knew nothing about the movie other than, that it was playing at a festival. And I said, okay, I'm going to watch it because I like all these people and I purposely don't want to know what it's about. And then when you start to watch it, okay, well, it's an indie horror film. It's sort of playing. And then the movie becomes like genuinely fun to me. Like, it starts to play a little bit with tone. And it's like the actors are having, in this kind of serious, again, I'll put serious in quotes, in this kind of like marriage drama that has a horror film wrapped around it, there's also sort of like this other layer of sort of fun and energy and camp and sort of goofiness. And so there was something about that to me that the first time I saw it, it was like, okay, I was liking it. I was enjoying it. I was enjoying all the, the story. It was kind of, for lack of a better word, for a version of the film, just sort of I don't want to say trite, but it's checking off all the boxes of like, okay, this is how you make a little indie horror. And then the scene in the movie where all of a sudden it like takes a left-hand turn in a weird way. My brain is like, oh, okay, that's what this is. But then at the core, it still maintains, like, to me, much like We're Still Here, which I think we talked about. Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
I think I was on that show. We talked about that. Much like that show, I mean, much like that movie as well, it goes into all these horrific places and has all these good horror elements, but at the core, it's just like, this couple's grief over losing their son, and We Are Still Here, right? Yeah. And so it's interesting how you get all the the good genre effects and all the cool things going on, but the core still stays maintained. Where this movie could have done that. I think a lesser director, lesser actors, it couldn't have had the camp and the fun and the sort of if it didn't have these sort of two strong actors sort of keeping the relationship and sort of like, again, there's a great scene earlier in the movie, I'm not giving it away, where she's staring at a mirror while she's exercising and saying, who are you and who do you want to be, or something like that, or who are you and who do you want? And she keeps saying it over and over again. And it's like weird and it's funny and it's sort of creepy. And so she's kind of breaking away. And then Larry's trying to like, keep her in check, like, cause that's his wife. And he just believes a wife is sort of a dutiful thing. And so the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I was genuinely like, I felt like I knew what to expect because of all the players in the movie. And I like genuinely had a good time watching the film, and with the gore and with the, the kind of the weird things we talked about, the Nosferatu stuff. I was like, the fact that they did that, like with a lesser movie, I feel like that would have been terrible. That would have been like something people would have pointed out to sort of talk about, look at this reference they're making, or look at how they're making such a specific reference. It seems cheap or it seems whatever. And in this movie, it seems like perfect. It seems like correct. So again, that was my big thing, is I just was like genuinely surprised at how much I liked it. Even though I had a sense I knew I was going to like it. I liked the left turn. And there's a specific scene, which maybe we'll talk about, maybe we won't, where I sort of felt like, oh, wait, it's going somewhere else now that I was not expecting it to go tonally for the first 40 minutes of the movie, maybe 45, right? It sort of seems like a very traditional slow burn indie horror, and then it gets kind of goofy, but it also stays kind of, rooted in reality, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. So those are just some of the things I liked. And I just liked everything about it. By the end of the movie, I was like, I want to watch this again. I was like, I want, and so, and I just think the two performances are so good. I think they're just, I mean, I can't speak enough to that. So anyway, I'll kind of shut up and.
One thing I want to get Aries and Raven Shadow involved in this as well, but one thing for me, I love the theme of what they're going for. I love that, Anne is living this sort of mundane, unexciting existence as a minister's wife, and that scene you referenced, Jay, when she was working out, when she was like, "What do you want? What do you want? What do you really want?" or whatever it was really interesting. And in that sense, so we're not really like, I don't think this is a spoiler, but I mean, about a third of the way through the film, Anne becomes a vampire. It's pretty clear. I mean, in everything you see about it, it's not like it's really all that much of a hidden thing. And and we can't really talk about the movie if we don't talk about that. So that is something that is integral to discussing it. And in doing so, she almost gets like free will. Like she is given this sort of power to make her own decisions, and she feels empowered. It's almost like, in a sense, it's a very feminist film where it is sort of taking a look at the role of women in society and how they're viewed versus how maybe they want to be perceived, or how they want to live their lives, because societal pressures we live in a patriarchal society, and that's just sort of the way it is, and the way things have been for a while. So for this couple, they've been married for 30 years. So if you think back 30 years, I was just talking about It's Always Sunny, and that was 16 years ago, and that was something that you probably can't do now. So just go back twice the amount of time, and 30 years ago, things were very different from where they are now. And you can tell that their marriage stayed very much the same. From when they got married, nothing changed until this point, really, in terms of their dynamic. But now, Anne has a little taste of like free will and power, I guess, is the best way to put it. And she is kind of like stands up to Jacob in this case, and is like, why don't you ever listen to me? Like there's this one scene, he's always talking over her. Like they do a really good job of showing that early on in the film when they're having a conversation. Jacob just talks over her and answers for her. And someone's like, oh, well, what do you think? And he's like, oh, well, this is what she thinks. Like he's just always talking for her and speaking for her. And that's something that, that for the most part is very much a fabric of our society. And, that is changing. Things are changing, which is good. And I like a lot of what this movie tackles. I feel, without giving too much away with the ending, this had an amazing premise, and I feel that it kind of pulled the rug out from underneath it at the end. It didn't go that step that I wanted it to go, but on one hand, I can see why it's. On one hand, I wanted it to go further, but on the other hand, it's like, well, this is kind of reality. This is the way things are. But I just feel like it kind of copped out a little bit at the ending, but that's what I wanted, So it doesn't mean that that's what everyone else wanted. But for me, I feel like it was a little bit of a cop out and a little bit of a disappointment at the end. But let's get Ravenshaw, Aries. You guys have anything to add to the discussion about what you thought about the film or any of the sort of topics discussed? Ravenshaw, you put your hand out.
Okay,
you can go ahead.
He's looking for a high five.
Yeah.
Tag in.
I was pointing to Aries with a hot tag, but he said nope.
Well,
so that was good.
You know what? When you gesture, I'm assuming you want to talk.
Yeah, me too.
No, I'm looking at you.
You're very demonstrative. I figured you're like, oh, well, I'm going to talk. I'm getting ready to make a point. You're like pointing at the monitor, about to make a point, and then nothing. Did you watch the fucking movie?
Everyone but you assumed you were going to talk.
He's making a point to Aries. He's pointing at Aries.
He's not making a point. He's pointing at Aries. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? You want me to talk?
I want you to. I like it when you talk.
You like when I talk.
That way I can piggyback off what you said.
Do you want me to go so you can think about something? Or
oh my God. This is exhausting. Okay, you know what? I have a small problem with the feminist aspect to this. What you were saying, Wolfie, with her being the subordinate to his empowerment. I don't feel they dove into that enough, because as soon as she showed any little bit of power, he backed down right away, and I feel that was kind of took away from that whole aspect of it.
I think he didn't understand it. He didn't know how to react.
Oh, well, anyone that has that power, I just felt that you're talking. I'm referring to the breakfast scene.
Yeah.
With that.
Yes.
I feel that any man that should have been what he had with the power would have been more than just. I guess I'll get something on my way to work. There would have been more of a back and forth, I think, with that. He just backed down from that too quickly, and that took away a lot of what I feel they were trying to build with that.
All right. I mean, I could see that.
I was gonna say I could see that, but I think also because, and I would probably just make this argument, is because I think ultimately they weren't trying to make him out to be this misogynist asshole. You know, like if this was a different movie and he wasn't a preacher, they would be like in a trailer park, and the you know, Jacob would be like, I don't know, some, you know, just some redneck asshole, you know, beats up his girlfriend and person who, then that's the thing, like obviously then he would have to think about it. And actually the way the movie plays with it is in a weird way, both that he's not like a terrible person. It's just, there's an element of the whole opening when he's given that sermon about how the husband's job is to sanctify the woman, and you know, he gives this whole sermon about the same way that Jesus said, you know, I can't, you know, there's something about that to me that sort of speaks to like, he's almost been cut into this sort of system that it's not even that has a deep-rooted misogynist patriarching. It's just sort of rooted in, as a minister, as a guy of a certain age, like they talk to me, they don't talk to my wife. My wife just stands there. And that also spoke to me too, because, you know, I live in the South, and, you know, my son's mother's family are sort of Salvationists. And it is very interesting when you see people whose entire lives, including their jobs, are kind of rooted in a religious aspect, where the women do become almost sort of subordinate, not because they want to, but it's almost just, it becomes this natural thing. And I think what's interesting about even you know, she doesn't know what to do with her power in some ways too, which I think is interesting. So it's like she can say something and he backs down, which I think you're right, Aries. And then at the same time, I think it's like she doesn't really know till the very end how to push it, like really push it. And
yeah, well,
and that I was going to say, and that's why I think the end is actually to go with, you know, I think is actually really strong, because if you look at where they both are and how the movie ends, it's like this could go a lot of different ways right now. And Stevens purposely sort of is like, we're not going to let you see what happens next. Which is maybe where, you know, some people might have wanted it to go, where it's like, no, we're going to stop right here, because there's a lot of ways this could play out.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, I mean, I'm not saying that I think he should have stepped up and backhand her, and that's what the character would have done. But by the simple fact that he was living in an outdated mindset, and that is just, it's almost to an absurd level that he was living in the past, where they still had rotary phones.
Yeah.
It was just that, I mean, that is part of the beauty of this character, the absurdity of this character, where it is so over the top, or it's not in your face, but it is so subtle. But I think that it should have been a little bit more than him instantly backing down with that, where it should have been back and forth, because it was the norm that he was used to for 30 years. And there was 30 years coming to a halt in an instant. And he just, right away, I'll get something when I go to work, where that should have been a completely foreign concept to him, to be able to stop and pick up breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, he should have not been able to comprehend that.
Well,
she should have had to suggest that. Maybe you should stop and get a bagel.
Yeah, and it is interesting though, because that idea comes back later, where they're having another argument, and she doesn't want him to leave, and he's like, I'm gonna just go get something to eat on my way to work. You know, it's like he doesn't. So there's a lot of, and I would also add too, because I think it is a good point, but it does come across, at least the way I see it, which again, there's a little bit of nuance difference here. Of it's sort of like, it's so out of left field, and he's such a nerd. Essentially, he's this nerdy guy who, like, everything's been perfect for 30 years. And, you know, it's like when he's on the phone and he's like, has she come over there? And then she comes home and just walks upstairs to go to bed. He doesn't even have a conversation like, what's going on? Where you been? He just is like, well, I'll be up later, you know. And then it's like he doesn't know how to process what's happening. And it's like that, then the breakfast thing, then I think there's like one other thing, and then that's when he goes to the brother's house and he's like starts drinking, right? He starts, give me the brandy. I don't know what to do here because this is so foreign. It's like, I don't know how to articulate it. I think it would be like if something, an alien was standing in front of you, like part of you might be terrified and run away, but part of you might be like, what is that? What am I looking at? Right? A ghost or something, right? Like if there was a real ghost. And so I feel like there's an element of that where it's like, it's so out of left field that it almost doesn't seem real and his brain can't process the reality of it.
He has different thoughts with different scenes. Like it doesn't seem to mesh where has suspicion with one scene, but then the following scene is just kind of innocence. Oh, she just got home late. It's just his thought process doesn't seem consistent.
Yeah. I could see that, and that might be the performance. That might be the script. I could see that though.
I mean, I have a theory with this whole movie, which I'll divulge with my
timber toes.
With my verdict, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
good.
I see how with like you were saying, Jay, about that he's not a misogynistic asshole like you would expect him to be, being in the profession that he's in and the beliefs that he has. But religion, Catholic or Protestant or Christian, they've all put women on the back burner when it comes to life. Got, and here is Jacob's wife Anne, who in a religious sort of theory, if vampires are considered a certain religion in certain aspects, that she kind of hurdled over.
What?
That she kind of hurdled over. What? Hey, I'm talking. Shut up.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to let that pass.
Why does he always got to interrupt?
I'm practicing Dracula. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
excuse me, do you have some time to talk about our Lord and Savior Nosferatu?
Fuck you. You fucking man bun wearing freak.
What? Just because I call you out, you point out that I have a bun. Oh boy.
Yes, I do.
Oh man.
Yes,
At least
do.
I don't agree
Okay.
there.
Then justify the religion vampire thing.
I said I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I said I don't know.
Dracula.
But I think when you talk religion to me, like when you talk about the idea of religion being like religion is misogynistic towards women, of course, but there's an element of that where, and again, I'm probably going way out on a limb here that I shouldn't go on, but I will. I think most of the men in religion don't think they're being misogynistic and patriarchal. And I would argue most of the women don't think that it's patriarchal because it's actually part of their theological makeup that they are, as women in their Christian religion, they are subservient to men. That is not, so if the man is sort of saying, I'm in charge, they don't actually see that as a patriarchal thing. I'm not talking all women, obviously, but I think a lot, especially of a certain age.
Well, not all women, not all religion.
But no, but I'm just saying, if you're talking Christian religion, you're talking a Christian woman in her late 50s, 60s, and who's been in the thing I was, because I was thinking of this when you said this. There's the scene when she talks to Tom Lowe, and the whole thing is that she was in a relationship with him. She sort of had her own thing. She was her own person, and then he left. And her mother died, and she says very clearly, Jacob was there to comfort me, and so was the church. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And so there's an element there of that comfort that she got from the death of her mother sort of filled her and then became this sort of thing that is. And it was only until he came back that all of a sudden all of these ideas of like, oh, wait a minute, I actually am a person. I actually do have value. I actually do have, because the comfort. And again, that's why I think it's key. It's not just Jacob gave her the gave her the comfort. It's that the church gave her comfort. And there was something about being the wife of the minister that was comforting to her, and that sustained her. And I'm not saying she was happy about it for all 30 years, because obviously, but when we see her in the movie, she's clearly not happy. I mean, she's just sitting there folding her, her little prayer booklet or whatever it is. But I think that's an element that I think is really interesting in this movie, because it is that idea of like what happens when you become so comfortable that you allow. And again, even if it's religion, again, not all religion, or not all people who are religious, but when you allow basically your religion to tell you are lesser, right? You are not valuable in the way your husband is more valuable than you. I think there's an element of that. And that's why I think we were joking about the Nosferatu religion, but I think there is an element of, in a way, the vampire is sort of giving her a new religion, which is, who do you want to be? Like, you can be whoever you want to be, not Jacob's wife or the wife of the minister. I don't know. I mean,
because
you do see that with her.
That she is behind him. She's well aware of the fact that she is just behind this guy and will always be behind this guy. No matter what, and when the Nosferatu character shows up, I forget his name. He was known as what?
The Master.
Her name, right?
Her name, yeah, the Master.
Yeah, her name, the Master's.
Yes.
Played by Bonnie Aarons.
Yeah. Wonderfully too, I might add.
Yeah, brilliant.
Very good performance. But after her attack, being turned into a vampire, and is, she says a couple of times, I like who I am now. I like who I am now. So she knows that she has that power to do what she wants, believe what she wants to believe, and rearrange the room in any way she wants, with virtually no problem at all whatsoever. Yeah. So, I mean...
And projectile vomiting. Don't forget about that.
Yes. Right? Jesus. Yeah, that's the thing. The gore in this movie was pretty sweet, too. But I got to agree with Aries, though, about how Jacob kind of backed down a little bit as soon as Anne was starting to force what she wants upon him. There really wasn't that much of a tussle there. I mean, yeah, he's a bit nerdy, but still at the same time, he is a minister. So he's read from the Bible. He knows, and also, he also, because of this, he also believes in the whole Adam and Eve story about how Eve was created from Adam's rib. So basically, they're saying that if it weren't for man, woman would not exist. So he lives by that theory as well. And when she hurdles him after being turned into a vampire, he backs down a little bit. Now, I kind of agree with Aries on this about how about how he backs down, and it's not as strong a feminist movie as you might think it is. I might agree with Aries on this.
Can we timestamp that?
I've agreed with you before.
10:08 p.m. on April 29th.
Yeah. Matthew of
I've
Omaha.
agreed with you before.
Matthew of Omaha says that he says the holy. I'm sorry, this is Evil Corny. Says the holy bloodsuckers of the tabernacle. That's pretty good. And then
the cubby hole.
Yeah, Matchwell says that MZ Drac-holicism religious theory. Is that like your
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Mark it down 10:08 30 and 37 seconds. I disagree. I think his response is fine. I think because again, I think ultimately I'm just going to go back to again, it's complicated, I think, because it's theological, but I don't think it's really like it's not thought through subordination. It's subordination because my God said you're supposed to be subordinate. So if you don't have some kind of deep-rooted, like you will bow to me belief system, and again, for all intents and purposes, present Jacob as like a Thompson. I'll go talk to you drunk. I'll go talk to this I feel like that just speaks that, again, he just doesn't understand the change. And again, it's like he's not even necessarily angry about it. He just doesn't understand it. But again, I mean, we've talked about this probably a lot. So we have differing opinions on this panel.
I just want to say just because how quickly he grasped that and accepted that is my issue with that, because we're going 30 years of marriage plus his entire life is what he's known, that he's supposed to get fed breakfast before he goes to work. And that is uprooted, and he just accepted that too quickly.
But then you could argue that he was down because of love of his wife. So, I mean, for his role, right, his job as a minister, he busted his brother's balls for swearing, taking his name in vain, for doing that. But when the revelation, though, he's a man of God, at least he's a man of God that can at least have a woman. You know what I mean by that religion. He was down with his wife. Now, anybody who's been in a relationship, male, female, whatever the team up is, whatever
team up.
I'm not sure what you want to call it.
Okay,
whatever the partnership is.
Lumberjack, tiny woman with tiny feet,
timber toes.
Yeah.
Anna Jacob Timbertoe.
Whatever your partner you choose to you are with.
Tipper toe Gore.
Right, Tipper toe Gore. Yeah, that's good. Well, whoever your significant other is, if they're telling you they're going to have a rendezvous with an ex-lover for a job opportunity, it's going to stick in your craw a little bit, no matter how dynamic your relationship is. And when that person doesn't come home until, around the crack of dawn, there might be a little bit of a concern. So I think Jacob did take it really well. And he didn't know what happened to his wife. And that was a very powerful scene when she came home. The implications for what may have happened, his imagination, could really drive you to multiple conclusions. But when shit went down, when push came to shove, I kind of think Jacob stepped to the fucking plate and was pretty cool with a couple of things.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, like my mom would hide a body for me.
It's not really saying much.
No, she does bring you cigarettes during a pandemic.
You will have to go get your smokes.
Yeah.
My parents would hide a body for me. Spoiler alert.
Raven Shadow, my mother works less than a mile from my house. She hasn't been here in 3 months.
Yeah. I think your mom would still make something go away if she had the fucking means, just saying. But I think that's what love is. Make something go away. You know what I mean? So I think Jacob and his relationship with his wife was a weird special love story.
Yeah, but that's where I think the movie gets interesting, because then what happens is there's this weird push and pull of kind of what was being said earlier, is that, she's becoming who she is, or what she wants to be. And he's doing those things, one, because he loves her and wants to sort of protect her. But at the same time, it's rooted in I want to get things back to the way they were. And that becomes the kind of the weird dynamic of and where I think the comedy and the funny scenes happen, where, they're going to I don't think this is a spoiler because it's not at the end. It's in the middle somewhere. They're going to look for the Nosferatu, and it's like, well, I'm going to go. And she's like, I thought we would go and do it together. And that's like a traditional relationship thing of like, no, let's do it together. Let's not, and he's like, we are doing it together. It's like and so I think there's all those elements, or like they get into a fight and she says a line, which is a brilliant line, which is funny, but it's also like a good relationship line where she's like, what? So you're blaming me because I got bit by a vampire? Because he's sort of saying, if you didn't go off with this guy to go to look at the mill, you wouldn't have got bit by the vampire. And then I wouldn't be dealing with this shit, right? So, and then that's where, again, is where I disagree with Wolfie is, by the time we get to the end and what happens, and then the movie cuts, it's like, does she realize something that she has to do now? Does he realize something he has to do now? Because he's not going to get the old Anne back, and she's not going to get a new Jacob. And so there's an element of they're at kind of a standoff, in this weird moment where are they, what's going to happen here? Are they going to kiss? Are they going to, it's like,
yeah.
It's such a great dynamic involved here, where you have Anne, who is now a vampire, who is the wife of a minister. I mean, just that plot line alone just can go anywhere with storyline, and I really like the way this movie played itself out, playing, with what's his name, Jacob, with Jacob trying to deal with the fact that his wife now needs fresh blood in order to maintain herself. That whole scene that played out was, I was dying from that. That was so funny because I was just watching Fessenden just like trying to maintain some sort of control in his own quirky little way,
Yeah, I think just to comment on what you said, Jay, like I think the ending, it worked. It definitely worked, but with some of what they were doing early on and like to like the middle of the movie, I had wanted it to go a little bit further to drive the message home. But I totally get what you're talking about. It's almost like relationships are a compromise, right? Like it's kind of meeting in the middle and making it work. That's reality, and that's what they went with for the ending. Like without giving too much away. So I agree that it wasn't a huge letdown where it would affect my opinion of the film, but I feel like it would have been stronger if it gone just a little bit further. And that's just, once again, that's just for me. That's what I wanted. And, like I think when it comes down to it, like reality, it went for the more real sort of ending, So we should start wrapping up the discussion soon, but there's a lot of stuff we haven't even touched upon. I did want to talk about, so the Master, played by Bonnie Aarons. I really liked that they went with a total Nosferatu vibe with this, including like down to the rats, and and even the shipping crate, I guess you could say, So MZ, I know obviously you have Nosferatu tattooed in your fucking body. What was your opinion of the Nosferatu sort of like parallels?
I think they played itself out pretty well. It wasn't too heavy. They didn't go, they didn't have to try and squeeze in every little bit of Nosferatu reference in the film. Just a couple of key points about the character, and I think it was played out pretty well. It was interspersed fairly even in the movie, not all one big clump in one area of the film. I think it was played out pretty well. I mean, you got the key points, like you said before. You said, the shipping crates and the rats. The only thing that they didn't, not that it was really necessary, but also the pestilence and disease was not brought up, but that's that's just nitpicking as far as I'm concerned.
More pestilence, more disease.
More nitpicking. But I think they did a pretty nice job with it. A really wonderful job, actually. And again, I think the actress who played Nosferatu was on point. Very good makeup effects on this character too. By the way, yeah, very good, very good.
I wasn't even sure it was a woman until the film progressed.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that they were kind of going for is it's a gender swap of Nosferatu, and I think that having that be sort of like a bit of a reveal, and once again, I don't feel that this is taking anything away. I know people might view that as a spoiler, but it's just one of those things that when you see it, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I think that she looked really good. She had the look down. The makeup was really well executed, and I liked the teeth. The Nosferatu style teeth, things like that. So I think it was a good way to go because it wasn't the romanticized version of a vampire. Like we have like a I guess. Interview the Vampire style, like all handsome and pretty and whatever,
Pain of the existence with the flowing hair and like with your Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, or any other Dracula, George Hamilton, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other great Draculas. But
well, if I could answer MZ's nitpick with the pestilence and disease, the fact that this movie takes place over the course of 2 days, it'd be tough to have disease and pestilence spread over the land.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you heard of COVID?
I never even thought about the time.
Well, but again, that's not the the thing about it too is the mouse, right, is a metaphor, right? Literally the Nosferatu says something to the effect of I was a mouse scurrying at the feet of important men just like you, and ultimately because I think Anne says at one point to the master, what do you want from me? And the master, as a sort of female vampire, why do you ask that? Why is it all about what people want from you? Like, again, going back to the idea of what do you want? And so I think that's what's so interesting about this character too, is it's not really even, a vampire that's interested in I don't know how to, it's like, I'm trying to give you something that I've had.
Yeah.
That I had when I decided to be free of whatever bullshit, 19th century, I was able to live, right? I was able to. And so I think that's an interesting kind of, but again, still rooting it and keeping it. I think that's what's sort of interesting about the idea of it's kind of campy to have a Nosferatu-y vampire in this movie, but it works because it's sort of playing on multiple levels as kind of just a little indie horror film, as a sort of campy vampire movie, and then as this sort of maybe deeper relationship drama or again with some feminist themes and so I thought that was I just keep saying I think a lesser I think it was a bold choice, and I think a lesser director could have really handled it poorly. And again, keeping the master in the shadows for most of the movie, right? Really only having 2 scenes. The first 3 scenes are just kind of shadowy. Is smart, right? Don't give that away too early. So yeah, I loved it, and again, the performance was great. The makeup was great. In that role, I thought was again a sort of a standout in the film.
Got to ask MZ, who were you more excited to see naked, Barbara Crampton or Larry Fessenden?
Fessenden.
He likes seeing those. He likes seeing those butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Was it was Joe Bob say butox?
Butox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Get to see.
you'd like to think that was the body double, but something tells me that.
That wasn't a body double. No way. No way. No way.
But for Crampton to expose the goods again, hey, come on. When was the last time she did it? It's been a long time.
She's in her 60s.
So she's like 60 or 61 now. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So kudos for her for doing that. Really. I mean, that's
Aries.
This is a weird.
Yeah.
Weird, right?
Aries is fucking. His eyes are gonna roll back in his head.
Well, you asked the question, Wolfie. I just simply answered it.
Ravecha, how about you?
But I'll tell you this.
Like some Fessenden butt?
I did. No. I was watching that with Mary, and I'm like, no, Feston's gonna gear down. I'm like, see, yeah, because he's Larry Feston's kind of like a BSO, much like Shawn Michaels and Mel Gibson. Like, he's not afraid. He'll show the butt off.
BSO.
And good. Yeah, butt show off. You know what that is.
Yeah, we all know what that is. Sure.
Butt show off.
Yeah, BSO.
Aries is a TTSO. Timber toe show off. He's just a timber toes boy.
I'm just a timber toes. Timber toes.
Oh man. So let's see. We talked about Nosferatu. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. What about the gore? I thought that there was some pretty decent gore in this, right?
Yeah, there was some great gore in this, and I'll tell you, there's one scene where Anne is in going full vamp on one victim, and there is like Japanese Yakuza movie style blood geyser, and she is just going full bore on that. I mean, she is just not letting up. And kudos again to her for doing that. I mean, I don't know how many other 60-year-old actresses are going to be willing to do something like that, but she went full in, man. And to me, that was the standout scene in that movie because of what was going on and who was involved. It was just amazing.
Also, really, I really enjoyed the grocery store scene.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fucking weird and gross.
Oh,
awesome.
He's like, "You want the blood?"
Yeah.
And then she's like leaving with like the shopping cart. She's got 2 huge like plastic bags full of blood.
I want more of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it played with, again, tonally, and it was sort of doing that a little bit till we get to the kitchen scene, right?
Yeah.
Where, again, the kitchen scene to me is sort of like the turning point of the movie. And that's only, it's about halfway in, maybe a little more than halfway, but it's dropping in these little, like, weird, quirky little moments till we get to that. And then you realize, okay, this isn't a horror film in the way we talk about, this is having a little fun with it. But at the same time, it has something it's trying to, that it's trying to say. It has something underneath it. And again, I will just say this, that, it's, I think, because we've addressed a couple of things that maybe are related to the script, and Aries said he might address some of this in his final wrap up, but, maybe there's a few things in the script that don't quite work, or a little bit like, I'm not really sure what happened there, or, but I think, you give those 2 actors a script like this, you're set. Like, you really have to have like not be able to know how to make a movie. And that's why I say, like, Travis Stevens to me, producing, over the course of a decade, 10, 12, 15 movies that are all like mostly genuinely entertaining, fun, scary, interesting, like, even, early films like I think there's one that I looked up earlier today called The Aggression Scale, which I saw at a festival in Asheville. And I was like, oh, he produced the Buster's Male Heart, right? He produced that movie, the Sarah Dina Smith film, which is like a great, so it's like, you could tell that over 10 years, the guy like watched people make movies, talked to screenwriters, and knew, like, get the right actors and you'll be in good shape. And he got, two of the best, I think.
And by the way, Jay, we call that the Charles Durning point.
The what? Oh, the Charles Durning point? Yeah. Why is that? I don't.
Well,
there a reference there? I don't. Oh, okay.
You mentioned the turning point.
Yeah, the turning point. Okay, yeah. I was like.
All right.
Got to keep up, Jay.
It's tough to keep up around here with all.
Can I quickly tell my Larry Fessenden story?
Oh, please do. Yes, I'd love it.
I was in New York in 2018 over Christmas time, and I was at a Christmas party, and I was with a filmmaker friend of mine who will remain nameless for many reasons. And I was at this Christmas. I said, "Hey, let's hang out." He said, "Well, I'm going to a Christmas party. Let's go." I said, "Okay." So we went to this Christmas party. It was hanging out. It was fine. It was good. And then he said, "Come on, we're leaving." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because we're going to another Christmas party." I said, "Okay." So we walked probably about 10 blocks east, and we ended up at this Christmas party. And we were in this apartment, and there's one room filled with like Frankenstein figures, and there's all these people, and I'm looking, and I'm like, "Oh, look, there's Ted Gagin." I'm like, "Oh, I can't think of the actor's name, but I'm like, I've seen him in a bunch of indie horror things." And I recognize that person. And it turns out it was Larry Fessenden's apartment. It was his Christmas party.
Oh, shit.
Because this guy knows Larry because he's a New York filmmaker and they all know each other. And he got him. So what happened is, though, my friend disappeared. I couldn't find him. And so I was like walking around the apartment trying to find him. And I walked into this room and there were tons of people in there. And Larry was standing there. And I was like, holy shit, Larry Fessenden's like right there. So I said, well, I have to say something. But I don't want to, so I just said, "Oh, hey, Larry, I'm a big fan of your work. I've seen this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. And great party or something like that." And then I said, "Oh, I'm looking for X. I'm looking for so-and-so. Have you seen him?" And he said two things. He said, "X? I didn't invite X to this party. X is here." and then he stopped and he looked at me and he said, "Who are you?" And he was basically saying, like, "Who are you and why are you in my apartment right now?" I said, "Oh, well, I'm a friend of X and I came with him." And he said, "Oh, okay." And he just kind of sauntered off. I hung out and I found out later, which goes back to something we talked about last week.
Security.
Izzy Lee was also at that party.
Oh, okay.
I had a conversation with her last year, and we were talking about random stuff, and she was like, "I was at that party," and I was like, "I didn't know you then. I knew of you, but I didn't know you." So,
That's pretty. I'm surprised he didn't kick you out right then and there. Oh, you were that.
No, and the one other thing I will say, which is brilliant, and if you can find this, it might be online somewhere. Every year, because I found this out at this party, he does a live Christmas Carol puppet show in the hallway of his building for his neighbors and their kids. It's like a 20-minute. And last year, because of COVID, he couldn't have the party. He filmed it and put it online so people could watch it. It's like a 20-minute, like little puppet show that he does and he does the voices and it's brilliant. It's amazing. So if you can find somewhere out online, Larry Fessenden Christmas Carol puppet thing, I highly encourage you watch it because he literally does it like in the hallway of his building for his neighbors. And that's when I was like, this guy's amazing. Like, he has a Christmas party every year and does a puppet show for his neighbors. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that's I wanted to throw that story out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's my one Larry.
Awesome.
You know.
Oh, hey, that's one more Larry Fessenden story than we all have combined. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, it's almost nothing because, you know, again, who are you? Why are you here? What's happening?
That's funny.
Yeah.
MZ's puppet show would be very different.
Yeah.
It would
cubbyhole.
Let my puppets come too.
The puppetry of the penis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
That cheeseburger is impressive. You ever see the cheeseburger? The sailboat?
No.
No, it's puppetry of the penis.
How about the bat wing? MZ's bat wing would be gigantic.
Jay, did you ever see? Did you ever see that movie? I think it was called Marquis, the puppet movie. We had it back at the video store. I remember I took it home one night.
Think so.
Yeah, it was.
That's why I didn't see it. They took it home one night and never brought it back.
It was about the.
I don't think so.
The Marquis de Sade and.
Oh yeah, the puppet. Was it a puppet one?
Yeah, it was a puppet one. Yeah.
Was it? I think I might have seen part. I don't really remember. I know Marat Sade. That's a movie though.
It was. Called,
yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, it was called Marquis. I remember one scene. I think I actually turned it off right after the scene. He is like sitting in bed talking to his penis. His penis like has a face, and it's like talking to him. And I think I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring it back.
So what's the problem? I don't understand. What's the issue?
Well,
hello, Brian.
Hello, Marquis. The issue was
like
I wasn't ready for that when I watched it like 20 years ago or 20-something years ago.
Well, of course.
There you go, MZ. Of course you got that.
Of course I do.
So you got to get a print of that for your grindhouse.
Yeah, right? You're not kidding.
All right.
Oh, what a movie.
So let's wrap this up. Let's do some maybe we'll do some verdicts now, huh? What do you guys think of that? All right, well, let's do it.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it was verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Jacob's wife was a trick or a treat and any final thoughts we may have. Let's start with MZ.
You know, it's weird, you know, because whenever you talk about Dracula, there's a lot of great movies and there's a lot of bad movies. But when it comes to Nosferatu, there is maybe one bad movie, and that's Nosferatu in Venice. Every other depiction of Nosferatu in film has been great. Good, great movie, whatever. It's for some reason it just connects that type of vampire with film, with the exception of Nosferatu in Venice. Try to avoid that. This was good. This was fun. You know, I mean, the director obviously has a horror theme in mind by having Fessenden, by having Crampton, by having Rustler. So this was made for horror fans. You know, the story between these two is fantastic. The relationship between the two, the way they work together, the way the two actors play off each other is really, really fun and interesting to watch. The gore is really up there. The film looks good. There's a very drab feeling throughout the entire film. It's always cloudy or overcast, so it's got kind of like a dismal feel to it. But there are set pieces in action and gore that makes up for it. Whether it be at the house or in the factory or whatever, just really good set pieces and really good action pieces as well. Overall, this is a treat. I do recommend it. If anything, just to see Fessenden and Crampton play off each other, because those two were perfect together. I couldn't picture a better couple of actors to play off each other the way these two did. They're made for each other. And if this is their second project together, let's see if we could get a third or a fourth. That'd be awesome. Because these two are great together, and this is a treat.
So would you say it's always cloudy in Transylvania, MZ?
It is.
Yeah.
Or in Mississippi, where this was filmed.
All right, let's go to Aries.
The acting in this movie was done very well. I thought everyone that was in this movie acted superbly. The issue I have with this movie is I got the feeling that they handed the script to multiple different directors and said, make a movie, and didn't give them any direction as to what type of movie they wanted to have. And you ended up with just this mishmash of different tones throughout the whole movie, where it didn't really play well for me. Between it being a serious thriller, a comedic horror, or a feminist movie, there was just too much going on in this movie where it didn't flow well for me. So that being said, this movie missed its mark for me, and if it wasn't for the good acting in this movie would be a complete miss. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't waste your time with this movie. This movie is a trick for me.
Oh, all right. Let's hear from Raven Shadow.
Yo, I'm going to say this is a Titanic team up that, you may never have imagined. I thought seeing Barbara Crampton Comes Alive and Larry Fessenden in a picture has been great, and being in the entire movie. We've seen them in cameos and small parts over the last, tenure of the show. But so here's the thing. There is many variations of the vampire mythos, right? There's the, Anne Rice Draculas, all different types of stories, down to the masquerade thing. So wouldn't a Nosferatu beget a Nosferatu? You know what I mean? So theoretically, like if you're a fan of that role-playing game, which I did for a little bit, but shouldn't the type of Dracula beget that type? If you're a Nosferatu Dracula, if you're a pretty boy, long-haired Anne Rice Dracula, or if you're a Gary Oldman Dracula, I don't know. Whatever the fuck. But was there? Well, I don't give. I'm not gonna spend too much time on fucking Dracula, invasion. But was there a misdirection in this picture early on? So there's a scene when we first see Barbara Crampton's character in blood, and I don't understand that scene because there was a misdirection. Jay, you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I know the scene you're talking about. I don't know.
But why was she in blood in that scene?
Why was she in blood?
Yeah, when after the first kill. After the first
why
kill,
is she in blood?
But she's like in the makeup, she's in the mirror, and she has like blood, and even like her face has some like veins kind of stuff. Am I imagining that scene incorrectly?
No, you're talking about the scene when she comes home from the mill the first time?
No, pre Tommy Lowe. After the girl is...
She puts the lipstick on and then takes the lipstick off.
No.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about either.
Yeah, what movie did you watch? What, are we talking about Nosferatu in Venice? What are we talking about?
Lost Boys. But no, after the girl is killed on the walk home.
Yep.
and the Nosferatu gets her.
Yep.
There's a scene about Crampton looking in the mirror, and she has blood on her face.
I think she's just looking at her face. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what.
Yeah. There's a couple of scenes that they do sort of really intense close-ups on her face to show that like she doesn't. I mean, and I would argue too. I mean, there's something that we didn't even talk about, but we talked about with Nosferatu, but the makeup on her, especially at the beginning, to sort of make her like her face is all splotchy, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the subtle makeup that I'm sure to sort of make her look sort of tired and old and so I don't know. What's your point about what you were talking about that none of us remember?
Raven Shadow, maybe you spilled some barbecue sauce on your TV or something.
Yeah.
Were you having some kind of fever dream? Because Marion doesn't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Did you fall asleep?
No, but I thought Barbara Crampton was a vampire before she became a vampire, and that's so be kind, rewind, watch it again.
All right, I will. I'll let you know.
You, Jay, and Johnny, we fucking talked about that in the '90s in the store you worked at, but no, I mean like I thought that Barbara Crampton was already a vampire.
No, she has a whole scene. She has a scene right after the girl walking home at night, where because it's a I don't know what kind of cut you call it, a smash cut, where the vampire grabs the girl by the neck, and then they cut to Barbara Crampton, and she's doing this with her neck.
Thank you. Yeah.
She's just looking at herself because she's like, I'm old.
Yeah.
And she's doing this. She's like looking at her teeth, like And again, she does have a dentist appointment, so that does tie into the earlier.
Partly in Raven Shadow's defense, she did have 3 scratch marks on her neck for that scene, like scars.
Right? Nothing. I feel like she had like varicose veins in her fucking head.
There were 3 scars on her neck. I thought those were going to play out later on. They never made mention of them again.
Oh, I thought it was just she was rubbing her neck and it was like irritating her skin. That's all I remember.
I saw what I thought was 3 scars.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean,
I was waiting for those to play out, and they never did.
Well, either way, it takes a lot of makeup and a lot of hard work to make her look bad.
Regardless.
And for the brown nose portion of the show,
it's not a brown nose.
Thank you, my friend. But no, I enjoy this picture a lot. Aside from I still feel that Nosferatu should beget Nosferatus. Big ups to Bob Crampton for some nudity, no reason at all. But she did a good job. Big ups to Larry Fessenden for being a BSO. I think it was very entertaining. And there's more things I could say about this picture, but I'm kind of done. But it was I had a lot of fun with this, and a lot of folks died in this movie. That I feel that should probably get some justice. With that said, this is definitely a treat.
All right, you don't sound convinced.
That's about to say.
All right, Jay. I think we know. But let's make it official.
Treat.
Yeah, we see that is Raven Shadow.
Listen,
says the guy who is usually as long-winded as Raven Shadow.
Yeah. Nice green hair.
One thing we didn't really bring up was CM Punk.
I didn't know he was in it until you mentioned it tonight.
Oh, he was the cop.
Yeah, he was the deputy.
Yeah, deputy young cop.
Stop it.
You didn't know?
Oh, yeah. That dude reminded me of the cat from fucking Reno 911.
The little I can't remember his name.
Just because he had a mustache.
The little kid from that movie.
Little kid.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys didn't know?
I thought CM Punk hammed it up just a little bit. Yeah. But it was okay. It was all right.
Fucking the officer was fucking dope. Who was the fucking dude?
Oh yeah.
Give that guy a movie.
Give that guy a movie.
Well, I was going to say, I was, this second time I watched this, the thing I was going to say as a treat, the one thing I thought was, as I was like, oh, you know what they could have done with this is this could have been like an 8-episode little, Shudder series or something with, either it's Crampton and Jay, their adventures, or maybe almost like a Salem's Lot, like they're trying to track down the master to get, or it's like something again, almost like a Twin Peaksy, like those two cops are in every episode, right? Yeah. And like weird shit happen, or there's a chupacabra now. There's a, like a, you know what I'm saying? Like a kind of a goofy X-Files meets Twin Peaks meets like, indie horror, creep show type, thing. Like, because I did think that in the second view, I was like, I would watch a series with these two guys, like the serious kind of, veteran cop and like the kind of, he's sort of played off as like a hot shot, right? Like what's in the case? He starts firing the gun and, like he just starts firing away. I got him. It's like, he's up for a performance review and he keeps fucking up all the time. Like every time he asks for a review, I'm thinking, that would be a neat little series with the two of them, right? Like grizzled old cop and young hotshot CM Punk cop. That would be a neat little show. I don't know,
If they fight a werewolf, they fight a monk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, and again, because there was something about, wasn't there something in the narrative of the movie where they talk about like dying towns and I bet that's why the crates are in the old mill because they try to find like the dying town where nobody will notice that like there's weird shit happening. And so that's where I think my brain was going. I was like, this is like all the monsters kind of descend on this town because nobody gives a shit about this dying town, right?
There was some good mythology building, or world building, aside from the Crampton and the Fessenden love story. Like I'm kind of into this world, man. Like it was.
Anyway, treat.
All right, there you go. So yeah, for me, as I mentioned, I think that I would have liked if this film went a little bit further with some of the themes. But that's just something that I would have liked to have seen. It doesn't necessarily take away from the quality of the film. It may raise the score a little or lower the score a little bit for me, but otherwise, like I think that there was a lot to like in this. I do like Travis Stevens as a director, and I think that the two films he's directed so far have been pretty interesting and really play up a lot of important themes in that I think need exploring more in film. So I do like what he's done so far. I like his output, and I look forward to seeing more. I was looking for a tweet. He did say something. Basically, like he said something to the degree of I don't know exactly what the quote was, but making films without like women involved must be really horrible or something like that. Because he's a kind of a supporter of women in film, and obviously it shows in some of the films that he's worked on and made himself. Having very feminist themes in his films. So I think that is. Kind of a cool thing that he does. I just found it. He says, "Want to expand the way you see the universe? Work with more women." That was his tweet that he put out. So he seems to be an ally for women in film. So yeah, no, I dig what a lot of the stuff that he has done, and I like this movie, and I think that there is a lot of good stuff to it. I think people will like this. For the most part, there is definitely a lot going for it. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of cool sort of Nosferatu-style vampire. And it definitely had that sort of small-town horror vibe to it. I did almost get like a little bit of a Salem's Lot vibe to part of it. So I want to mention that earlier. So yeah, so for me, this is going to be a treat. I dug it. I do think I wish that it went a little bit further, but I also, when Jay had said sort of the piece about being sort of like compromise. That's how relationships are. Like, that's sort of where I had a feeling it was what they were trying to say with it. But in terms of the potential and the premise that was introduced, I think for me would have been better if they went a little further with it. But otherwise, it's enjoyable. I think a lot of people will dig this. Unless you appreciate Aries' point of view, maybe you won't. So that is going to do it for our discussion of Jacob's wife. I have a feeling this will be available on Shudder because Shudder was involved in the distribution, so it's probably one of those deals where I'll get a VOD window, and then eventually it'll probably end up on Shudder in the next few months. So if you guys are interested and don't want to foot the bill for the VOD, you could probably just hold out for Shudder in a couple of months. I do know that Psycho Gorman is going to be popping up onto Shudder May 20th, and that got a VOD release in January. So, maybe a few months between VOD and popping up on Shudder. So, all right. So for next week, we are going to do another movie, as we always do.
I'm shocked. Another movie you're going to do?
Another movie, yeah. It's amazing, right?
3 weeks in a row you're going to do a movie? I can't believe it. 495 episodes with no movies, and now all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so next week we're going to do a film called Honeydew. We had actually asked Jay about this last week. Honeydew is directed by Devereaux Milburn, and it stars Sawyer Spielberg. Yes, that is Steven Spielberg's son. So interesting that he's in an indie horror movie. But we'll be checking out a film called Honeydew, and it's available on VOD. If you guys want to check it out, give it a look, and then come back next week and hear us talk all about it. And if you guys want to give your thoughts on the film, send a voice message or an email to podcast@trickortreatradio.com.
Yeah, Sawyer wanted to play Maria in the West Side Story remake, but Steven wasn't having it.
No. That's a shame. He really should have let his son do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he probably could have played the character in Ready Player One, right? Because
true,
that character is like animated for half the movie, and the other half he's got a stupid thing across his face. So it's like could put anyone in that role.
Maybe he's afraid of nepotism.
Yeah, is that Kate Capshaw? I think it's Kate Capshaw too, right? Is Kate Capshaw his mom? I think so.
I think so.
I'm almost positive. Well, you have the lookup skills. You can look that up for next week.
Yeah, I believe it is, but I don't have it in front of me. But yeah, so we'll do Honeydew next week, and yeah, we have a few voice messages. You guys want to hear some voice messages?
Heck yeah!
All right, so let's go check in down under. Let's talk to our boy Tim Chuma. Tim from Melbourne. Let's see what's up.
Bombaleo. Tim from Melbourne here again. Just doing an update because I've started that new job and settling into it a bit now. First one I saw was Addis Melrose Avenue. It was so boring. I could only get half an hour into it, and then I had to do the Raven Show special and just skip 5 minutes through it in 5-minute bits to see what the story was doing. No, it didn't do anything actually interesting. So yeah, that's a good way to watch a movie. And trying to get through to the end of Gangs of London, I was a bit disappointed with this, considering how much hype it got with the director of The Raid involved. He's only really did 3 episodes of it, and he's not really a skilled enough writer to do how complicated they wanted to make it. That's a bit of a shame. And I saw Wrath of the Man, the preview. That was a good 2-hour nap. And the comics now, The Good Asian. It's about a Asian American cop before there was actually Asian American cops. That's a good one, based on the Charlie Chan stories. That's the limited run, and Made in Korea, which is a sort of a redo of AI, but with more of the developer behind the scenes, and Darth Vader 11, in which Darth Vader shits the bed. Yeah, I don't know why they have to shoehorn X-Goal into everything. It's bloody Disney continuity they've been trying to ram into the original stories. No, get rid of it. And finally, Modoc, the story that Patton Oswalt's involved in. I haven't seen the TV show, but the comic's fairly interesting. It's good to see these really obscure characters getting a run now. All right, thanks.
All right, Tim from Melbourne. Awesome to hear from you, buddy. Raven Shadow, Modoc, you checking it out?
He had me at Modoc. I don't know what that is, but yeah, apparently Modoc, was it an animated feature? Is it a comic?
Well, he's talking about the comic, but there is an animated show coming out that Patton Oswalt is doing the voice of Modoc.
It's fucking, there's no rules anymore. Fuck it. If you made us give a shit about a talking tree and a raccoon, fuck it. Bring Modoc. Bring Modam, the woman version of Modoc, with a giant fucking head with fucking arms and legs. Fuck it. There's no fucking rules anymore. Fuck it.
Jay, did you see Gangs of London by chance?
I have not. No, I've heard mixed reviews on it, and it's one of those things I keep sort of, I want to watch that, but then
Yeah, I'm
brought it to something else.
Yeah, obviously I'd love to see it because of Gareth Evans' involvement, but as Tim said, that is disappointing if he only directed a couple episodes. But yeah, still curious to check it out. I believe it's coming to the States if it hasn't already come to the States. I don't know if it was going to be on AMC. I can't remember where it was going to appear, but it'll be available in the States soon. But yeah, it's disappointing that Tim didn't really like it. But he also mentioned, I think, 86 Melrose Avenue. I'm not familiar with that. But we always appreciate the updates, Tim, and hearing what you're digging and what you're checking out. So thanks, man. All right, next let's check out Arkham Josh.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio guys, it's Arkham Josh here. Just calling in with my thoughts on this week's film, Jacob's Wife. So another one I've been looking forward to. I enjoyed Travis Stevens' last film, even though I know it kind of had a couple of issues. The Girl on the Third Floor had a couple of issues, but overall I thought it was a pretty good film. So I was kind of looking forward to this one. And this one I really quite enjoyed. I think it's a little uneven in tone, but not enough to really hurt it. I think there's a couple of aspects that, where sometimes it kind of branches into being a little bit goofy. But I think it kind of walks the line pretty well. And so it's definitely very atmospheric and creepy. The special effects are really good. I quite like the vampire design. And I think that the acting, story, everything is great. I just think that there was just a couple, sometimes like character reactions or situations where things just got a little bit borderline slapsticky. Where if it had kind of gone a couple steps further, it might have been too far. I think it did a good job. I mean, I think the only thing that outright made me think something was dumb or something, I would have to say would be the rats in the box scene. Because the way that is edited, it really makes it look like somebody goes, hey, look, a box of rats. I should just shove my arms in here. All right. But other than that, everything was fantastic. The score was also really interesting because I noticed sometimes it kind of shifted some styles. And I didn't notice a lot, but I noticed a couple of times where it seemed kind of reminiscent of other films. Most notably, there is a piano motif the first time Larry Fessenden's character shows up to that warehouse mill, that to me was very reminiscent of the score from the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And there was a couple other times where I think oh, this seems familiar. Nothing like outright taken, but just something kind of very familiar. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else caught on to any of that. But I thought that was interesting. I thought the score was really well done as well. So overall, everything was good. So Jacob's Wife is indeed a treat and a recommend. And very interested to see what you guys thought of it. Oh, the other thing, too, as I thought of, is given some of the relationship themes going on in it, with about independence and things like that, is I wonder if the title is a reference to the Romero film Jack's Wife, which dealt with similar kind of themes of identity and independence. That film is more commonly known as Season of the Witch, and has kind of a more witchcraft bent to it. But I know it's one of his lesser-known films. I know some people refer to it as one of his lost films, but it was never lost. It was always fairly widely, fairly available on VHS, just people didn't know to look for it, kind of thing. But yeah, so I'm willing to bet that there's probably an intentional reference to the Romero film in the title, given the kind of similar, some similar kind of character elements. All right. That's all for me, but yeah, treat and recommend. So I hope you guys are all having a good one, and as I said before, I look forward to seeing, hearing what you guys thought of this as well. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, Josh. Always good to hear from a friend. Glad you dug it, and I do wonder if I hadn't thought of the potential ode to that he was referring to with the Romero film. But yeah, could be.
It's a good movie. That's a good movie. Season of the Witch is good.
Yeah,
and he's right. It's all a lot of dealing with independence, and check it out. I think it's on Shudder right now, so check it out. Definitely. Check it out.
Cool. That's one of the few I haven't seen, so I would like to check that out.
Isn't it called Season of the Witch just because they added a Donovan song or something weird to that, the opening?
Season of the Witch.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it is. That it had a title, and then when they distributed it or they redistributed it, they added a title song, and it was a Donovan or one of those, and so that's how it became Season of the. It's the season of the. It's. It's funny you mentioned that, because I had both times watching this, the opening scene when she's walking through the town, I kept thinking of Martin for some reason. That because there's a lot of scenes of him just walking through the railroad tracks and walking, behind buildings and stuff, and she's just she starts in the clear center of town, and then she's kind of keeps going further and further out to the the lesser part of town, whatever. And I for some reason, I just had this again, it's what he was saying. I had a vibe. It wasn't I don't think they were trying to reference Martin, but I guess that movie just kept popping into my brain both times I watched it. I was like, oh, this feels very Martin-y. And again, that's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I want to mention though is the soundtrack. And Marion pointed this out when Anne was doing the makeover in the room, which I love when vampires use vampire powers for non-vampire shit. I love when Lestat folded the fucking penny or the quarter 5 times. I like that. And when Anne moved the furniture, but they were rocking a Concrete Blonde cover that was fucking dope. The original's better, but it was a cool cover of a Concrete.
And seeing Barbara Crampton dance with a lamp, what's better than that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like in to me, in a lesser film, it would not work. But it's something about, now again, it might be because we like those actors and we're willing to give them a lot of leeway. You know what I'm saying? We give, but I think there's something to. Never mind. We already did Treat. Why? We're back into a review of Jacob's Wife, round 2.
Round 2, fight.
Furthermore,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I do want to. I was looking up Season of the Witch, and just one little fact here I found is that it was originally filmed and released in 1971 under the title Hungry Wives, which ran 130 minutes. The movie was re-edited for foreign distribution and re-released as Jack's Wife a year later, running at 104 minutes. In response to George Romero's successful release of Creepshow in 1982, Jack's Wife was released on home video as Season of the Witch, with the running time trimmed further to 89 minutes. The current video version runs 104 minutes, which is the original overseas version titled Jack's Wife. So, interesting. There is like many versions of it, but the most recent, the version you could probably find now, Season of the Witch, is the 104-minute one. But yeah, that's interesting that they had did that. But back then, when there wasn't a ton of as many filmmakers as there is now, when someone has a hit like Creepshow, they're probably going to dig up some of the old films and be like, oh, here, let's repackage this and release it.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when I used to work at Suncoast Motion Picture Company, and you'd get like Good Times Video would release, and it would have a picture of, Joe Pesci from clearly like 1992, right? Because he was a big star, just Lethal Weapon, Goodfellas, and it would have a picture of him from 1992 on the cover, and it would say like Family Law or something. And you put the movie in, and it's like a movie made from like 1978 that is in the public domain, some shitty. Well, and they would just dig up here's a Brad Pitt movie from 1983 that but they put a picture of Brad Pitt as he looked like at the time the movie came out, so it makes perfect sense, right? Home video could capitalize on that in a way that you probably can't anymore. Well, I guess you could. I mean,
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I guess it doesn't happen as much now because there's such a glut of stuff out there that you don't need to dig up like stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how they used to do that. We got one more voice message. This is from Chronic Shadow.
Hi. Hello. Trick or Treat fam. You guys want to play Mortal Kombat 10 on Steam? What would be Raven Shadow's fatality? Discuss.
Raven Shadow's fatality would be let me get this. If one of you guys want to toss in after, go for it. But he takes out a cigarette, he lights it up, and then he takes a swig of alcohol and he blows a fucking fireball using the alcohol and the cigarette, and burns his opponent into a fatality.
I'll go along with that, but I think instead he calls his mom to do it.
Hey, Mom. He gets on the phone. Mom, can you come give this guy a fatality for me? Oh, shit. That's pretty good.
Well played, MZ. Well played.
No, I think Johnny's right, but my mom would help dig the body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she'd take the body away as after you destroy it, and then she'll drop you off some Chinese food too.
Chinese food.
Did you get any Chinese food this week?
No.
Oh, Mom didn't come through.
No, listen. Once again, don't have a kid if you can't fucking support him. Just saying.
She's supposed to give you child support?
Yeah. No. We're doing friends. Let's see what we can do.
Friends.
Someone's got to pay for his prostate exam.
Raven Child's got a few more years to go, but
Yeah.
Hey, Ma, can you take me to a prostate exam appointment?
I think we broke Aries.
They broke me years ago.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna have Aries take me.
Instead of
Nope.
instead of Goofus and Gallant, we have MZ and Raven Shadow.
Well, I feel I'm more polite.
You are a little bit more polite.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right. Well, that is going to do it for the show. I think that's all the voice messages. Thank you, Chronic Shadow. Always like to hear from you, my friend. Even though he's got a different name every time, but we know it's Gene Siskel's balding head. We love you, man. Jay, it was awesome having you on for 2 weeks in a row, my friend.
I know I don't know what I'm going to do with all my free time now on Thursday night. I would like to say one thing because I don't, this is episode what exactly?
This is 457.
And I think, for everybody listening, because I think when you said that today, for some reason, it dawned on me, like, that's really fucking impressive. No, I'm serious. Like, I'm being and I think the people listening, like, I think that's really impressive to be doing a podcast every week for, 400 and I already forgot the number because
457 consecutive weeks.
Yeah. I mean, that's like 8. That's like what, 7-8 years?
8.5, I think now.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I think that's really, and again, I guess why I'm saying that is because that's why I love coming on because I know you guys personally a little bit, but some of you not as well as others, obviously, But I think that's the thing. It's like I like coming on here because it's clear you guys have a passion for this and you guys are good at it. And it's entertaining and it's fun. And so I appreciate every opportunity I get. And I love hanging with you guys. And I just, I just wanted to say that and for the people listening, I think, you guys have created something really special over that time. And so I think that should be acknowledged from time to time, that not many podcasts can say they've been around for 8 years consistently, week after week after week. And yeah, we talk about prostates and cubby holes and but there's occasionally some interesting movie criticism in there too as well.
Yeah.
In between the timber toes
We'll find a way to get
and the Goofus.
I learned something today. I will never forget timber toes as long as I live. So I owe Aries that for the rest of my life. When my kid is online saying, "Oh, I'm just watching Timber Toes," I'll be like, "That started on Trick or Treat Radio back in 2021, April 29th." Anyway, so thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure it's not a year. Now that we've had you twice in 2 weeks, always love having you on.
It'll be 2 years now.
No, yeah, exactly. We'll have to have you on once, maybe when the theater's built. I want to hear an update when the theater's up and running.
Yeah.
So awesome, Jay. Thank you so much. And I'll go around the room, and you guys can say goodbye to the listeners and to Jay. And also, I didn't want to be remiss if I didn't say I appreciate those kind of words, Jay. Sometimes it is easy to lose sight of what we do because it's it's just a bunch of idiots hanging out or a bunch of friends hanging out, and this is probably what we would do anyways if we were near each other. But it is a pandemic. I'm 350 miles away or whatever it is now, so it's not as easy for us to do it. But it's fun to just get together and shoot the shit with your friends and talk about movies and yell at each other and make jokes.
What made me think about it too is what made me think about it was like a dude called from Australia.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that's not the only person, around the world who listens. So there's an element there where that's fascinating and impressive to me. That's incredibly impressive. And that somebody actually would take the time out of their day to call you and talk,
And that dude came here.
No, I know the whole story, but I'm just saying that speaks to in some ways, again, myself as an artist, that speaks to what you're doing and what you're creating. Even if it's only, tiny, it's important and it's good. So
yeah, well, I appreciate that. It is yeah, it's easy to lose sight of a lot of the other stuff when you're just hanging out with your friends. But we appreciate it, and it gives us affords us this opportunity to hang out with you and with other folks, and and to meet people like Carando that we've met over the years, and other filmmakers and other writers and people, and got to talk to heroes like Tony Timpone and Mike Allred and Joe Lansdale, and a host of other like amazing guests. So, what's that, Raven Shadow?
Joe Bob Briggs.
Joe Bob Briggs, yeah, exactly.
We did. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Before his revival, we got in before the revival. So
John Jarrett.
John Jarrett, yeah. So there's been a bunch of really cool things, and it's just a great opportunity for us to just hang out with our friends, and to get to meet new friends. So we appreciate you calling that out, Jay. It's it's nice to hear once in a while, even though I get a little bashful. All right, well, let's go around and say our goodbyes, starting with MZ.
Arrivederci, douchebags, and Jay. Good seeing you again, man. Thank you for coming on.
Always.
All right, you're the man.
I'll see you at the cubbyhole.
Right.
All right, Aries.
I got questions with that one, but I don't think I want the answers.
Hey, I'm liberal. I'm cool.
Jay, it's always great to have you on. Hopefully we'll be on. You'll have you on again real soon. And to everyone else, goodbye.
I won't wear socks next time. You can check out the toes and see if they.
You got small feet, do you?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. You can be the judge. You're the one who has to come up with what do we mean by small. So,
well, you are Irish, so other stuff's small. So
yeah. Anyway,
Rave Shadow.
I'm so fucking distracted because I know fucking Aries and MZ and some weird shit. But Jay, thank you for the kind words, my friend. And we've been in the same room together before. I remember that. We've been in the old Wolfenstein together. We met in real life, and I appreciate the kind words. And I love you. I'm going to send you messages soon. Private messages.
Means never.
No, I'm good.
You're going to message him first so he can remember.
Well, there was that one time I drove around Grafton for hours looking for you, and I just couldn't. Yeah. I didn't know where to go.
Well, to be fair, that was different continuity, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm off the rails now. You got to come up, and I'll meet you in Somerville. We'll build a.
Right, hey, Don't
tell me you come in my neck of the woods. You can always stay. You can stay where Johnny stays. You can stay in the Johnny wing. The Wolfenstein wing of Raven Estate, so whatever the fuck we calling it.
The Raven Chateau.
Raven Chateau, yeah, we have a name for it. It's dubbed. But no, Jay, I love you long time. So until next time, live fast, love hard, fucking survive.
All right.
I mean, what is
I got nothing.
All right. So, yes, Jay, thank you again, my friend. It's great to see you. And I'm going to have to pull out my Starship Video shirt that I have in my closet somewhere. And maybe next time we'll wear our Starship shirts. We'll broadcast in our Starship shirts. Raven Shadow, you can have your memories of the Blarney Stone of passing out afterwards.
I have lost so many memories of the Blarney Stone. Yeah.
All right, so that is gonna do it, though, and we appreciate everyone tuning in, everyone who left a voice message, and everyone who tuned in live. And real quick, Corny said Gangs of London is on AMC on Sunday nights. So there you go. If anyone was looking forward to it, it's on AMC, and maybe it's on the app if you on demand or something like that. So give that a look. Next week, we are doing the film Honeydew. We'll be talking about that. And, looking forward to it. So thanks once again, Jay, and everyone who's going to listen to the podcast. We appreciate you, but our Patreon supporters, we appreciate you the most. So thank you, everyone, and be safe out there. Go get vaccinated, and we'll see you soon. See you next week.